Hi, folks. This is Aiden Crenshaw, aka Irongeek. Been streaming for a few weeks now. This is an impromptu 3.5 just because I'm feeling a little bit bored and I decided to post it out there. I don't want to have a whole lot of focus on this particular stream other than particularly boredom, and I want to just sit out there and talk to people. Such is the way of things. I've had a lot of thoughts recently about life and what it means and what people's careers mean and what family means and so forth. And it's kind of all flowing through my head and trying to sort things out. And there was a movie that came out, well, about 16 years ago called Fight Club that I've gone back and started to view. And it has a certain populist view of nihilism that I'll look on and think about that I don't have a lot of educated opinions on necessarily, but it makes me think. It makes me think about what people want in life, what people derive pleasure from, what people derive purpose from. I watched this movie and I'm like, people want a cause. People want something to be a part of. And we have someone who joined the chat. So, or go ahead and announce yourself. All I hear right now is mouse clicks. The official Irongeek casts are always going to be on Wednesdays. This is a 3.5 because this is in the middle. But go ahead and announce yourself.
Hey man, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Hayden.
Yeah, sweet. How's it going? Finally got working. Gotta
Cool.
fuck around with settings all the time.
I decided to start casting because I was bored and I needed a purpose for a bit. And
Bit of a purpose for Monday night.
I'm a little mentally fucked up right now.
Oh shit. Is
Well,
it just you and me?
Well, it's due to deaths in the family. Oh, sorry. Well, you and me are the only people in the chat right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's due to deaths in the family and what they do and.
Oh fuck, that's always hard.
Yeah.
It's always...
Uncle died. I don't remember the number of days ago now. Shit. Both uncle and mom died in January. Mom on like the 31st. And I'm taking care of uncle's estate and I'm just trying to figure some shit out.
Yeah.
But you know, I went around and I found his trailer. He was a black powder shooter. You know how I go to a lot of cons for InfoSec?
Yeah.
Well, he went to black powder shoots.
Went to what?
Black powder. You know muzzle loaders? Like old style cap lock or flintlock rifles.
Oh yeah.
That has a whole fucking community about it. Where people go dress up in buckskins and coonskin hats. And my uncle had a skunk skin hat.
Holy
And
fuck.
they'd go out these things and they go shoot. And it's a community much like InfoSec where people have similar interests. And they go out and they go to these. All right, in InfoSec we call them conventions.
Yeah.
In buckskinning and mountain man shit, they call them rendezvous.
Rendezvous. Oh.
Well, I think that holds back to the old days when people actually made money out there trapping and skinning for furs. They'd have rendezvous where other trappers would all get together and, you know, hang out and have some fun, drink a little, have some party time, then go back to the profession.
Yep.
I kind of want to take it back up, you know, on my uncle, and I have the epic beard enough now that I think I'd fit in pretty well. Yeah, anyway, I started up the stream just for the hell of it. What you up to, man?
I'm just working on a netwars, so I was getting a bit stuck with the client-side exploit just for fun and hit my head against the wall. So when I saw you post, I was like, yep, I could change things up and see what's happening.
Cool.
There are a couple of people in your YouTube chat.
I'll go see what people are saying. His name was Robert Paulson.
Yeah.
I'm watching Fight Club right now. I was feeling a little nihilistic. And I was like, I can go to the gym to work out and look like Brad Pitt, or I can just go home and drink a little vodka and watch Fight Club. So I decided it on the second thing, which was not the best decision in my life, but, you know, I did it.
Just trying to see how many people are in the chat. There's a couple of people. Can you, participants, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So
actually, hang out through the chat, so if anybody wants to join, they certainly can.
Yeah.
You ever watch Fight Club?
Yeah, I love that. It's so good, man. It's old school.
That is one of the old school. See, I remember seeing I remember seeing the trailer in some other movie I was watching. When I heard in the trailer, Edward Norton saying, "I'd fight Shatner, William Shatner." That is the thing that sealed me for having to view this movie.
What about Gandhi?
I'd fight Gandhi too. Yeah, Gandhi. That's pretty cool. Gandhi, though, come on, let's face it. Gandhi, he looked pretty amazing.
Malnourished.
I have to imagine most people could take Gandhi.
Yeah, he was pretty small and malnourished. By the end of it, definitely.
2009. What? Sorry, 2009. Fuck. 1999 was a great movie. Great year for movies. All right, you had The Phantom Menace come out, which granted was not great, but it revitalized the Star Wars series. And it was the last Star Wars movie I think I saw with my mom and brother, which we previously seen the previous 3. So that was cool. And Fight Club came out, which was an awesome movie. And I actually thought Mystery Man was really good. And I want to say, what was it? The Sixth Sense came out. That was a good year for movies.
I can barely remember that.
How old are you?
Almost 30.
Yeah, youngin. I got 12 years on you, so that would be the reason why you don't remember it.
Yeah.
But Fight Club, it has such a... I don't know what the message actually is, but it's essentially about men in their 30s trying to find some reason, some purpose in their life.
Anti-consumerism. Reason to live. Yeah.
There's a little bit of that there at least. As I quoted to my brother recently, the things that you own end up owning you. I tried to express it to my brother because we're both going through some crap because of recently deceased relatives. Yeah. So we have a lot of crap coming into our lives as far as material possession.
Like stuff? Oh, yeah.
And you want to keep everything for sentimental value, but you can't keep everything. That's just not feasible.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, there might be some, like, cool cedar chests I should keep because they're just so rare.
So people in your chat are asking you questions.
Well, let me go back and check this out. Oh, yes, The Matrix was also 1999. That was an awesome movie. The sequels, not so much.
Back then seemed so much bigger and grand, like more imaginative. Nowadays, it's like they're so predictable.
Well, The Matrix was the last movie that impressed me with visual effects. Now I expect people to be able to create anything in the computer. So I'm no longer impressed. Like, for instance, the original Star Wars was impressive. The original, actually, what was it? The Monolith. What's that called? Shit. 2001: A Space Odyssey. That effect was spectacular, and also I think Terminator 2 was spectacular. But now anything anybody does in effects, I'm not amazed by, because I expect anybody to be able to do anything.
There's that issue where it gets like just before realism, and then you can really tell it's not real. It's I've forgotten the thing. It was with that Avatar movie.
Uncanny Valley.
Yes, that's it.
That's usually attributed like androids and such. But yes, when things get the Uncanny Valley is when, well, it's not when things get too real. It's that point where they're just real enough. Like if things are not quite real enough, those cutesy. If
Yeah,
the completely
arouses a
real,
sense
you
of
can't tell the
unease
difference.
or revulsion in the person viewing it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, uncanny valley, which is an interesting concept to look into when it comes to the creation of androids and so forth. And a few other things I won't bring up in here because it would just cause a whole lot of political conflict. I need to resurrect InfoSec Trollbot. It was running on my Raspberry Pi, and my Raspberry Pi has died, and I have yet to hook it up to a proper HDMI interface to actually figure out why it died.
Mine I'm just using for Cody, like watching shows.
Are you doing that?
I use Raspberry Pi just for Cody at the moment.
I usually am coding in a VM. I still use Kali for most things and write little scripts in Kali and so forth. Though, oh man, Kali, you cannot apt-get update anymore without breaking shit.
Oh man, every time I download it and put it in VirtualBox and then update it, it just fucking goes blue background and totally wipes out.
I'm currently working on an older version. I'm hoping they figured out that crap properly. I need to go. Okay, and all my coworkers tell me I need to do this. I'm trying to figure what the proper term for it is. The pen testers framework.
Yeah.
Thing that Dave came up with to where it speeds up the ability to quickly add apps to like an Ubuntu install. I need to probably switch to using that.
I have it on Xubuntu or Xubuntu, however you pronounce it, XFC.
Is it working pretty well?
I love it, yeah. Because
Okay.
I have a Lenovo laptop NVIDIA graphics card, so it's really hard to connect the password cracking to it, and XFC sort of automatically connects. It's the best thing ever.
Amelia Everett, hey, cuz. Wait, my cousin Amelia's joined the stream? Cool. It's Amelia I'm thinking of. She's my first cousin once removed. We're having a debate about this at the visitation. The whole thing about what cousin is what is really confusing to me. There's a whole rule order to that, and I still am confused on what makes a second cousin and what makes a first cousin once removed.
Once removed? What? Isn't that the same thing?
No, shit. I need to look this up. All right. My mom was Betty Marie. Her cousins were Rebecca and Maria. Maria had a daughter and a son. Her daughter and son, I think, are. Wait, no. Now I don't even know. I need to look it up. But yeah, they were her first cousins. What they are to me, I want to say, her mom and Rebecca were both my first cousins once removed. I think Amelia is my second cousin. I don't care. They're all cousins. It just I like that. Rebecca just said they're all cousins. It makes it fucking easier. Nacho Cheese says once removed is for child of your first cousin. Okay, then explain to me second and third cousin, Nacho. And Nacho, you have the link in the stream. You can join. You want to verbally explain this? I'm currently streaming because I have nothing better to do. I'm currently on one.
Why wouldn't you just say your cousin's child?
But well, your cousin's child though seems kind of like distancing yourself from him. I mean, they're also your cousins. I'm just trying to actually understand what people say when they do the whole genealogy thing. Genealogy is more representing than mine. I'm basically doing this stream because I have nothing better to do, and I'm on 1 week of bereavement. So I'm just doing this. We can certainly talk about InfoSec though. Oh! I don't know if you all saw. I tweeted about this. I was on WDRB here recently. That's my local news channel, Fox News channel. they were asked about cybersecurity, and yes, of course, they did overplay some shit. But me and another agent in Louisville area were both interviewed. So
Nice.
only thing I could show them was a family tree website where you can actually get a lot of docs on people. I want to go ahead and see if I can find that particular website and see if you have seen it. Wait. Finding shit. Sometimes Twitter really sucks for actually being able to find the information that you want. Anyway, if you look on WDRB and Cyber, you'll probably be able to find it pretty quick. Unfortunately, I had to not go to B-Sides Huntsville this year because Mom passed away on Tuesday, so I couldn't make it on the Saturday because that's when we had the funeral. So I don't know if they had anybody else out to record it. Luckily, they had someone else. Augusta Locksport came out and did the Lockpick Village for them. Oh, yes, I'll post this in the chat. This is the interview we did. FamilyTreeNow.com. That was the one. FamilyTreeNow.com. Oh, I saw myself in the video version online. I didn't watch it on while it was played. I heard it played after the Super Bowl. I'm talking directly to Amelia and no one else who's that side of the conversation. So, Hayden, you have any good ideas for like future con conversations? One of the things I'm thinking of is
conference or podcast.
Well, podcast or conference, but I'm thinking mostly conference. I have people wanting me to speak. Apparently, I was set the keynote at B-Sides Rocket City, but in Alabama. But I missed it. I didn't even have a talk ready. I've been thinking about doing a talk on common keys, as in keys that are everybody reproduces the exact same physical key with the same thing. Like recently, my uncle, I inherited I think it's what is it, CH751, which is a super common RV key that like all RVs fucking use. So it's kind of not a security measure. The same thing can be said about TSA keys and elevator keys. So I thought about doing a massive talk on that. But I'm willing to have new ideas. Also, I did a talk a while back on
you did their TSA keys.
What's that now?
You did their TSA keys, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Modeling. Yeah, that'd be
I thought about doing a more meta talk though on universal keys regardless. Like a lot of these elevators you get into have universal keys, which Deviant has talked about, and so is Dennis Magnold. I'm trying to think of his last name. And Sergeant Payne, Major Payne. A bunch of people give talk. I thought we were doing a meta talk on all of these, talking about all the different keys out there that are basically universal. That they have the same bitting as all the other keys, and people don't think about it. And that the fact that the lock is essentially not really a lock, it's not a unique key. It essentially requires a specialized screwdriver to open.
Oh. Is that like a safety feature then?
More than anything, yeah, because you look at elevators. A lot of these elevators all use the same key. A lot of RV locks have the same freaking key. TSA, well, it's all the same freaking key, and people made a big deal about the pictures leaking online. You didn't need the pictures. All you needed was the lock. You could take it apart and figure out what the key was.
Yeah, that talk's good. Because a lot of physical hackers out there. What conference are you submitting it to?
I'm not sure yet. I just have people wanting me to talk. There's certain cons expect me to talk every year. One of them is B-Sides Huntsville, aka Rocket City. Huntsville is I actually like the Alabama Huntsville area. It's got the beautiful mixture of high tech stuff and redneck, which appeals to me.
I can understand that. Yeah.
My family's a mixture of high tech. Well, I'm the high tech one, but what is it? George Jones' song back in the '90s called "High Tech Redneck." That basically describes me as part of my family. I like it, and there's a lot of aerospace stuff going on there because of what is it? I can't remember what the big Air Force base is there now. But Huntsville is pretty awesome. I'm always expected to speak at Show Me Con.
Yeah.
And until this year, Skydog Con always expected me to speak.
What's that
one? I got
I've
black
never
badge
been.
there, so I don't need to speak to get in necessarily. And I need to come up with more talks. I thought about doing a part 3 of my how people got caught on Tor and I2P. And I'm sure I can find a few more instances. But it's going to be more redundant stuff of people screwing up and saying too much stuff on the public internet that gets them caught on the darknet.
Yeah, that OSINT stuff is awesome, especially when Krebs got the IoT botnet guy through like a bunch of thin threads on the internet, all the different trails.
Oh, Nacho Cheese, yes, I will be at B-Sides Cleveland. I'm always set up for that. Assuming that someone else in my family doesn't pass away, yes, I will be there. And since I have only 3 other members of my immediate family who could possibly pass away, well, you never know. But yeah, I intend to be at B-Sides Cleveland. Yeah, NASA has some stuff there. Actually, Rockets, and this is to Amelia. Yes, I was at actually a security event in Huntsville, and they actually had an after party at Space Camp, and I was like drinking mixers underneath the a V5 rocket. It's actually really cool at Space Camp. Yeah, your mom. Oh, sorry. Amelia said, "Yeah, I need to secure a laptop." Her mom has already talked to me about that coming by. I gave your mom a few tips about removing malware. I told her to run malware bytes essentially and see if that makes anything better. If that didn't work, I'd come out and fix it. Hayden, do you have anything better than malware bytes? That has been my current go-to.
That's like
crap off the computer. I use malware bytes. What do you use?
Malwarebytes, it's the only one you can download that's pretty good. Other than, I don't know, Deep Scan with some free antivirus, which probably won't help much. But yeah, even at work, mine was having a few alerts, so they made me use Malwarebytes as well.
I usually, I think Amelia's mom was using, Maria, she was using Avast, I believe, was the antivirus she was using. I usually use Microsoft Security Essentials and nothing else. Generally, though, I'm safe just not clicking crap.
I've actually been really happy with Security Essentials.
Microsoft Security Essentials?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
when you get a computer that's badly infected, though, when you get one that's really badly infected, though, I find I have to use like Combo Fix, Malwarebytes, sometimes Super Anti-Spyware. To get certain things off. And really, I've noticed that some of the malware coming down is getting fairly malicious as far as its attack vectors.
Oh, Andrew, we'll have you introduce yourself in just a second. I'm going to reply to some people. Oh, great. Someone asked why my audio is always bad at a lot of cons. That's because I show up with a lot of video equipment. They can't necessarily necessarily give me house audio, and then also people don't speak into the mics. So I go back and post and try to make it better by clearing out noise and ground noise, static, and so forth. But you get what I can. I try my best, but audio is a pain in the ass unless you have a good person sitting there actually putting the audio equipment in line for you. Defcon is probably my best case scenario because I have people like Jason and Martin who basically started off in audio engineering and then went into InfoSec, and they do the audio for Defcon. So that's going to be one of my better cons for audio. Most of these cons, I show up with the video equipment, and I hope they can get me audio, but it doesn't always work that way. Andrew, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I go by CPROSU usually. I think we met at Defcon last year, at least before I was kicked out, but...
You got kicked out? Shit.
I got kicked out. But that's not the point. The point is that I've just noticed that the malware that's coming down these days is pretty nasty. And since Christmas, really, I've been seeing a lot of just random attacks that are just right on to your IP address directly, especially when it comes to things like if you got an asterisk box running. Man, I tell you, it's pretty brutal out there.
Well, if you're on the public internet in general, people are asking, how common are hacking attempts? How common is scanning? And they're like, if you have a public IP address, your shit is your fault.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Although, you can save yourself a little bit by, best practices, having a nice box in front, running either Linux, IPCOP, BSD, pfSense, but I really haven't gotten into pfSense yet.
Well, one of the developers of that is like local to me in the Louisville area. I'm trying to think of their name. They went to visit our house, and they had a big, Big Green Egg, which is a specialized cooking grill. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's basically a way of cooking something very regularly. You can regulate the heat and so forth. It's a big ceramic green egg. And people are giving my cousin a malware advice in the chat. So cool. If you all can hook her up, I appreciate it.
Big format, done.
Seems like my chat's broken.
Well, I'm watching one chat that is the people who are in the stream itself, and there's also a YouTube chat as well.
Yeah, I'm on the YouTube chat. Is anyone?
Oh yeah, I forget. Hangouts does that horrible thing where it does that.
Yeah, tonight's stream is basically just because I needed something to do. I could have gone to the gym and worked out to look more like Brad Pitt. Instead, I decided to come home and feel nihilistic and watch Fight Club instead.
Fight Club's a good movie.
That is one of my favorite movies. My three favorite movies are essentially, it's hard call, but I'll say Army of Darkness, Fight Club, and oh damn it, I know I had another one in my head a while back for what Matrix, possibly. Star Wars gets its own special category. The original 3 trilogy, which I have a version of before they decided to start going in and doing digital edits on it. Granted, there's some of the things they did probably need to fix, but some of the stuff, not so much. Like, they didn't go back in the ones I saw from, what was it, 97 was the first time they went back and did a remix. There was some stuff in the Rancor pits that they should have fixed. All right, you all can carry on the conversation for a second. I got to throw me some more Coke.
Fair enough. So I went over here because Pronto said that you were on and doing stuff. And I heard you were talking about, in no particular order, movies, InfoSec, and other things. All things I'm interested in.
Always the way.
Speaking of movies and InfoSec and stuff, I know that Johnny Christmas and Hacks for Pancakes, they get together at some event at, I think it was Dragon Con and Gen Con, to give a talk about InfoSec in movies and where people fuck things up.
Sneakers is pretty good if you just count the fact they used visual red lasers at one point. You know, cinematic lasers. That's probably my favorite of the bunch so far. Though I haven't seen hackers, and I don't intend to ever see hackers.
Hackers is not bad for getting some feel to it, but they have to CGI and make everything flashy because, quite frankly, real-life hacking is incredibly boring to watch. I've had customers come up and say, like, "Well, we want someone to sit there and watch you as you hack our systems." No, you really don't.
No, you really don't, because it's like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm waiting for a 30-minute Nmap to complete, and while I'm doing that, I'm just being bored. I'm going into your different IPs, seeing if there's any web services there. Oh, hey, there's a web service. Hey, you've got an address field. Now I'm going to try and get your database to accept information that isn't logical. And no one wants to see that.
It could be funny if it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek humor kind of thing. Like, it's like, yeah, just hacked a bank, and it's just a dude eating yogurt in his chair. It doesn't look busy at all.
Yeah, people don't understand, I think, the amount of time you spend staring into a blank command line.
Yeah.
Or the worst thing is, you know, like, you don't get anywhere, right? So you just go to sleep. And you wake up and you say, I didn't try that. Oh, hey, look.
Well, I have a list of things I initially try when I break it, because my go-to thing is a fairly low and slow Nmap. I try to scan the thing, see what ports open, visit every website. Then I usually try to use Dbuster to see if there's any like common files out there that people should probably have out there. And then I tried the normal attack strings, you know, single quotation mark, see if anything breaks, common injection vectors and so forth, see if they don't do proper sanitation of input. And then after a certain point, it just comes, all right, what does Nessus tell me it has? Let me see if I can confirm that.
It's always fun to look at the robots.txt first, and then do a site :your.com here.com, and then PHP or something, and just see what pops up.
Yeah, the most common vulnerable languages I find are usually Code Fusion and PHP.
Yeah, if I've had in the past a person who was really interested in security, and I saw they were using PHP, I would let them know that it's probably not in your best interest. Especially, you know, if they're running like a PHP BB forum. But you'd be surprised, you know, once people get stuff running, they just don't want to ever deal with it ever again.
I imagine it's especially true at universities.
I noticed a lot of small businesses, they want to buy POS solutions that go through the computer for the credit cards and debit cards and things. And I'm sitting there and I say, hey, look, you have 1 or 2 shops. Just pay the money, have the phone line, have the POS terminal that dials up from the phone line, and that way your butt is covered even if everything gets compromised on your POS systems. You know? Because that's not a hit that most people can take.
And those part of the sales systems, though, the ones I've dealt with in the past have been pretty weak as far as once someone's implemented one, they really don't want to change it, which I can understand that. And a lot of times they have like auto login enabled and so forth. So you have a password in the registry which you can get to. Depending on what remote management system they have, you can actually find that password in the registry. So
I'll go you one better. This one piece of software, which will go nameless for the moment, uses a Phoenix database, and everything, including passwords, is stored in plain text on what they call the master computer. We can't run it. You can't run it on a separate server or VM instance. It's got to be a part of the Microsoft Windows network, and communicates with you know, NetBIOS and whatnot directly. And you literally can go into the database if you have another computer on that network, or you can break in a different way through a piece of remote software they also happen to have installed on their supported installations. And you can actually read the database straight up, plain text, get all the passwords that were ever used, and then you can get into the customer database from there. And it's really kind of horrifying to me. You get all the registered passwords, you get all of the anything you want, and here's me, and I'm saying, and they're saying, oh, are we PCI compliant? I'm like, what is PCI compliant? I mean, in my experience, it's a made up thing. What's your perspective on that?
I don't have a lot of perspective on PCI because I don't have to actually work stuff for compliance. I mean, I might be involved with someone else's pen test on that. I got the impression that the impression I got from talking to other people was, if you get hacked after being confirmed PCI compliant, then you really want PCI compliant, in their opinion. I don't know. It seemed like a checkbox certification, people. Can someone else add more to that?
Target was hacked and they were PCI compliant.
I think there's really big repercussions when you are certified to be PCI compliant, but then it turns out you weren't because you got hacked after the fact.
And then they did the investigation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there was someone on Defensive Security. They reported their current status of security or what they were going to do, and it wasn't in actual fact what they did or what they ended up doing. So they got a much bigger fine, like 2.2 million or something, because of a USB that got left behind.
Although we all know from Stuxnet that a USB laying around can do a lot of damage. Granted, that scope of that attack was very, very, very specific and well thought out. And well thought out.
We'll have a little bit echo here for a second. I'm trying to get my YouTube stream back up so I can see the viewer chat.
Well thought out.
Oh, I have mine on and I mute the...
So Advanced, pretty much you figure out where the stream is via me actually having it in the YouTube channel itself, right?
I got a tweet about it first, and then I ate supper. And then I checked YouTube, and then I saw the same link that was in the tweet before. So.
Well, this is a 3.5. This isn't one of the official streams. This is just something I started up because I'm here home alone, a little bored. I should be doing things that are more productive, but I'm not. What topics would you like to see talked about on future Irongeek casts?
Well, I was just thinking about the favorite hacker movie and shit, like we were talking about before. I think you missed a couple. I think War Games is definitely on there. I think it's Operation Takedown. Is that the Kevin Mitnick one?
There is one called Takedown, aka also been called Hackers 2, which it's not really affiliated with. It did a good job of actually showing how social engineering works, but it's not a very realistic portrayal of what actually happened with Kevin Mitnick. So, Kevin Mitnick should be honored
because of that.
What's that now?
Wasn't he really pissed because it wasn't accurate? And
I think he actually probably sued, and that's what kept him from airing it in a lot of other places. Because
really?
everybody in the U.S. who's ever seen Hackers 2, aka Takedown, Kevin Mitnick, whatever, has done it because of they pirated it from some other country. Yeah, it's not very realistic as far as what actually happened. Also, the fact that Kevin in the movie, who was played by, oh crap, I can't remember the name of the actor who played him in that, Skeet Ulrich. No offense, Kevin, but Skeet is prettier than you, so you should be happy that he portrayed you. That said, it did not portray Kevin in the best possible light, and it was a little slanderous. Also, let's face it, if you had the chance to score for Amanda Peet or hack something, you would score for Amanda Peet. That's all there is to it. And she's in the movie.
True.
I'm like, No,
That's
this
true.
is totally not realistic.
I remember that, yeah. And then he's just like, check out my gear that I can listen in on phone calls with.
The movie is not. The movie is actually pretty well made. It's not accurate to actual historical events. It does show a good portrayal of what social engineering really is.
But wait,
But it's kind of slanderous. So I have mixed feelings about it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but the thing is that that cell phone, that Motorola hack, you can actually do that. You can turn that phone, that old school phone, into a radio. And you can
There's
actually
ways you
scan
can
the air.
use it to monitor voice channels that were not yours.
Yeah. And you can remember those old Nokias? You could do #*12345 £5, then you do star, and it went to a menu. Do the same thing with that thing.
Secret menu.
All the phones have them, man.
Well, yeah, they were service menus.
Yeah, the service menu.
Like back in the day on Verizon, before they really went to their whole data thing, when data was just coming out, you could get your own data on a Verizon phone and just pay minutes for it. All you had to do was set up your own proxy server.
Yep. What is it called? It's not IPDX. They have a name.
It's like an APN number or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you get the ASN whatever ISN number of the cell phone.
Or ASN? APN? I can't remember.
Yeah. Or the MZ, whatever
All right, let me ask you this question. Do you think things are actually more secure now or less secure than they were in the past? Because it seems like the knowledge of what common vulnerabilities are is more common now than it was in the past. But there's also more things out there to possibly attack. Internet of Things and so forth. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I think it depends on who you are, because if you're an average Joe, I would beg to say that you're less secure than you ever were. If you're someone like me, you're probably more secure because you're busy, obfuscating things like, a common thing I'll do is make a Linux kernel report a version that I know has this very specific vulnerability. So I know that when they do an OS detection on it, they'll just start slamming it with that one vulnerability. And of course, that will be fixed. But on the other hand, someone who, they like buying all the gadgets and they have their internet fridge, well, people are going to take advantage of it. One of the jokes I give is, I'm going to hack your internet fridge. I'm going to watch your bottle of vodka, since there's a webcam in the fridge taking pictures of things, and I'll know that you drank a lot that night by the amount of vodka that goes down. So that would probably be the best time to go after you for certain things. But, all of these things are things that just were not an issue. Playing with people's thermostats was not an issue. Screwing with their HVAC systems just was not an issue. Having their fridge order a whole bunch of pizza from the neighborhood grocery store, again, was not an issue.
The Amazon button thingy.
Oh, yeah. What if you actually sit there and you're bored enough and you have a good antenna and good radio system and you detect one of those going off, and you know the codes, you know everything, so you act like the button, send it over to their cell phone, and basically just order a whole bunch of Tide under their account, and it looks like they did it.
I wonder if you can SSL strip that app.
I mean, if you can think of it, it's probably possible and doable depending on how they implemented their security. Even if they implement unique tokens, it's just a case of figuring out certain patterns and brute forcing it. I mean,
how about using Frida and just connecting to the process?
Probably do that too. I always find it funnier when you can just do the simplest thing possible, though.
Yeah, that's true. But Frida's in JavaScript. It's so easy. Well, Internet Assembly, JavaScript.
One thing that I find fascinating, I don't know if you've found this out, Irongeek, but in my dealings, people will ask me my personal or professional opinion on a device or a concept or the cloud, and I'll tell them what could probably go wrong, and I'll get just just like an expression of "Holy cow, that's possible!" And I'm thinking like, wasn't that the first thing you thought of?
I get asked my opinion on various things from time to time, and I'm like, it's so wide and very like people ask me about, give me your opinions on OPSEC, and I'm like, I don't really want to write this all in an email, and I don't know what to tell you, and this is a long conversation. I also get asked occasionally because I do lock sports stuff. What lock should I get at my front door? And I'm like, well, all I can say is get some security pins, put that in, keep the same key you got, because that would go a long way to helping you out. But ultimately, I have windows, and that's where people will ultimately come in.
Yeah, they'll come in through the windows, or they'll notice that, hey, you got a hollow door or a glass sliding door, and they're going to get in. Locks are for honest men, as they say. I mean, if they're going to get in, they're going to get in.
It also depends who's trying to get in there, too. So,
granted,
the idea that know he's there.
The idea that most of your street criminals are going to be walking around with bump keys, probably not.
Yeah, but still possible.
Yeah, and for that one person, it's 100%.
I try to put things in place that are not even online, so then I can check them once in a while, and they don't have no antennas or anything. You just gotta manually check it and just to see what's up. Then you can see
toothpick on the top of the door.
Yes. No, they sell these like little radios that have they're like motion detect, and once they motion detect or like record a micro SD card, and you can take those apart and put them in all kinds of places.
Yeah, cool. And then what you find out is that your neighbors are going through your trash. Yeah. There's random people who jiggle your door handle to find out if it's open, and they jiggle all the handles on the car doors too, by the way. They're going to go after the easy stuff first.
Yeah.
And it's really creepy, I might add. Once you install that stuff and find out, I actually put a camera up because I've got cactus wrens, and I like to watch cactus wrens. And then I got to watch neighbors getting their packages stolen right off the front of their porch.
Well, fuck.
And it's like, holy cow, that's happening.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. It's like. And also, have you heard of the dead spot? So basically, they order it to your house. So, and they wait on it, and then they track you down, but they pick up the package before you get home, and you didn't even know the package went through your house.
That's crazy.
No, it's insane.
Isn't there other ways around the whole having a permanent address thing or having a P.O. box or something?
Yeah, I'd rather just have a P.O. box and a safety deposit box, and that's it.
But then again, if your safety deposit box gets burned down by a meth head, it's just as unsafe.
Hey, yeah, it's. Oh, I was gonna ask you, did you have at least once a month, can we do talks through this and show a small presentation, like a lightning talks? Adrian?
Wait, now what do you want to do, man?
I was wondering if we could do small presentation, lightning talks about shit we find out about once a month.
Well, if you're interested in coming on stream and giving a presentation, I'm fine with that. I mean, I normally do these every Wednesday, and I start the stream about 6:45 and post the link for the stream, or post the link for the hangout, and then I actually start streaming it at about 7 o'clock. But if you have a presentation about something you want to give, I'm certainly glad to be a platform for you.
Then you could full screen it or something, and then Adrian,
I share his screen. Yeah, he can speak, and I can share his screen.
Yeah,
he shares his screen. I think is the way that works.
I can just do a Google Slides, and you can.
Yeah, he shares his screen, and then you click on his icon so that it stays up for all the YouTubers.
Okay.
Or I can also wait. Can I just send you an OBS stream?
See, I don't know how exactly this works. I've been using Google Hangouts just because it's been convenient, but I'm willing to do something else, so someone else can tell me what I need to do. I mean, I use OBS for my recordings at cons, But I'm not
OBS
sure
is
about
pretty good.
everything about
You
it. As
can.
far as
I'm not sure if you can stream directly to YouTube. I haven't tried that.
No,
before.
yeah, you can. You can actually stream. You go to your live thing. It gives you the code. You just put in your live stream code, and you can stream it
RTMP?
live.
Yeah, I've tested
So-
it out before. It's really simple. If you got an extra monitor that you're willing to always have shared or something, then you can switch between videos or Google Hangouts or whatever on that.
Yeah.
And it's still looking more into finding a proper way to stream YouTube videos to the people inside of a Google Hangout so we can all can properly hear it. Last time I did that, the volume was really low.
Basically just have a separate computer, and what I would probably try is, like if you're using OBS to stream, in that case, I would probably just toss up a VLC window with a stream over from the other computer. That's what I've done in the past to do that, just so I could look it up on one machine and do it on the other. But you could probably do it on the same machine, but the audio paths get really complicated, at least in Windows, and I'm not sure about in Linux.
Could you just like say SSH forward something, and you can probably play it on your screen? We can do whatever. We'll probably share it.
I think OBS on a second monitor, and you're sharing that monitor all the time, and you can search shit up on your own screen, and we won't see that. So it's a good little back and forth kind of thing, I think. But I don't know how you would do your presentation. You would still have to share your screen, and then Adrian have to go to it so everyone else can see it.
I mean, I could probably live stream it from mine, but I don't know the delay. Then yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll do slides, and I'll do a couple demos.
Let's see.
Yeah, I finished my board layout finally. After I tore up all of the traces and started over again.
What you been working on? What kind of project?
Oh, that's that dimmer board I was talking about last
Okay.
week. Or maybe the week before or something.
Now, what exactly does a dimmer amount to, though? I thought either it was like a resistor inline to drop the amount of current going to the light bulb, or it was something that did modulation where it would basically, or is it pulse bandwidth, modulate the output so that essentially it really wasn't on all the time.
Yeah, well, you can PWM the output. That's what this dimmer does. And it only lets the sine waves through when...
Your password has expired.
The fuck happened, man?
Andrew has his video up.
Yep. I'm playing around with some stuff.
I was like, what the hell
what's
happened?
going on there?
All the background noise went away.
Yeah, it's because when you're typing with the keyboard, it decides to mute you because Hangouts.
Right.
Did you notice what's actually running here?
Yeah. Where do you have that set up? Is that in the VM?
386.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually installed this on real hardware before. It takes 5 hours. At least on a 386.
Inserting all those floppy disk images.
Yeah, about 30 of them. Good stuff, though.
Can you merge images and then just keep pointing the setup to the same path?
Suppose, but remember, you don't have any bash here.
That's right.
It's funny because
much RAM are you
when
getting
I brought this system over, not the VM, but the actual hardware system, over to Defcon, the first thing like everyone tried to do was run a fork bomb on it. It was pretty funny.
Can you do like user administrator star?
I don't know. I haven't tried a lot of things. You can do an RM-A though, and it will actually do it.
How much RAM you got on it?
I think on the real one I've got maybe 12 megs. On this one I've got 32 set up. It's actually really hard to get it working properly, and I still don't have network access. I'm trying to get that working, but unless you happen to know the chipset for an Olivetti 9141 NCU network card, then I can't get Ethernet running. I probably got the right piece of hardware to make it work, but I don't have the actual, I don't have the knowledge on the chipset in order to pick the right card and make it work. You know, those are all ISA things. So it's just kind of funny when you're dealing with ancient systems.
Is it RISC or ASM?
Oh, and this is x86. See how it says System 5 386?
That's RISC. Yeah.
So this is actually an AT&T 6. I think it's a 6386, but it might be a 6836. I don't remember correctly.
It's not just 686, isn't it?
No.
So what is this primarily used for? Like, what is this managing? A series of switchgear or something?
No, this would actually be a server OS or a desktop OS from back in the day.
Oh, okay.
And I just happen to have it running in a VM right now, just to have something to chat about and talk about, because it's kind of interesting seeing. Let's see.
And today on Terminal Adventures.
I just set up a good VM on experimentation. I have my old work laptop that has 16 gigs of memory. It probably would be decent for doing it. I just got to figure out how to install ESX on a Mac OS box, or sorry, Apple. I'm drunk. Never mind. Forget what I'm saying.
You just gotta use the turbo switch.
No, speaking of which, the turbo switch is a good talk in of itself. Do you know why the turbo switch exists as a turbo switch?
Because a lot of old apps didn't necessarily put in timings, and they just relied on clock cycles. Because I used to have a video game that would run incredibly different depending on whether or not you had the turbo switch turned on. Yes,
but it wouldn't be very marketable to put a make the machine slow down button on a computer, would it? So they reversed the logic and made it a turbo button instead. But that button is so you can slow down the computer and then play your games that are clock dependent.
Yeah, I used to have an old, it was like a CGA game called Red Baron on x86 computers that you had to make sure it was slowed down so it would even be feasible for you to play it.
Makes sense. There's a lot of pinball games for the old 8088s and 286s that if you run them on like a 46 or a Pentium, they just go, you know, and it's just like you can't play them because they're running so fast. It's actually really funny. Now, this actually does stem from the mainframe days. IBM back in the day had a refrigerator-sized tape drive they were testing in a field lab, right? And one of the high-end IBM executives actually walked in, and he noticed something that he didn't like. He looked, there was this big light that said idle on the tape drive, to which he replied to the engineers, you guys have to fix this. IBM gear doesn't idle. So they changed it to ready.
Shit.
So marketing will always get you.
Yeah.
Think about tapes and shit. I went through I was at my uncle's house today trying to clear up a little bit of crap. Not much, but a little bit. Found an old 8-track tape. Who the hell... Is anybody actually interested in 8-track tapes anymore?
Amazingly, there are people interested in 8-track tapes.
Dude, you could probably... You only have 10 grand there. Find out on fucking eBay. You never know.
You should use it as a storage medium for encrypted data.
You know, ancient old stuff I can probably sell off and make good money on, but I don't have the time to do it because I have a day job.
Just take pictures of it.
I mean, I grabbed the stuff I knew that I would have some idea what the value was, like guns and shit, but old stuff like 8-track tapes, I have no idea. That brings up the idea of how many people have actually done something like, in the digital age especially, how many people have set something up to where if they pass away, their family gets their passwords and their account information so they can straighten shit up on the digital world.
I've thought about that before. I've thought about like
A
not
deathband key.
not so much that, but like an automatic self-destruct. Like, you know, it's almost like the.
You don't want to see your free porn after you die?
You know, like the what is it? The kill man switch or whatever, where the guy has to be holding it. Dead man, yeah. So every day I have to like log into a server and I don't know, touch a file or something like that, or else all my shit.
Boy, you'll be unhappy
Gets
the day
deleted.
that like DNS goes down for everybody.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like it could be a couple days later or something. A week.
I know I have something with a YubiKey, key, but it's once a month, so it's not like once every day.
Granted, that's if all the routers between here and there don't store all your information anyway.
Yeah.
I find that the government actually has an interesting problem on their hands once they started absorbing the internet as it was going through the AT&T nodes and such. And that's the fact that they have so much data now that they can't sort it all fast enough.
That's why they're pushing AI everywhere.
Yeah.
You're going to have operators. You're not going to have programmers anymore.
I think I'm going to convert my script so when I die it sends dick pics out to everyone and just spams them.
I'm going to hijack every mainframe when I die.
I'll have the last laugh.
Friend.
You guys will see my dick and I'll have the last laugh.
I will stop that rampage. Not happening.
That is so good, man.
Not interested in seeing your e-peen.
Yeah, but it's not like I'd be embarrassed. I'm dead.
Yeah. You're probably going to have like 3,000 counts
of
pornography.
Yeah, but your family members would probably be fairly embarrassed.
Oh, shit. I was at my mom's funeral when we got to the gravesite, and my brother was talking about, well, there's this spot for me and there's this spot for you. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to use that spot. You know what my funeral arrangements are, right? And I don't think you remembered. My funeral arrangements are, when I die, if it's winter, you put me in the fridge for a while till it's hot summer. If it's summer, you proceed as planned. Then you go out and buy a wood chipper. Next thing, you find the offices of people at my old university I dislike. You walk in there, you turn off the air conditioning on the hottest day you can find, spray me against the walls with the wood chipper, let me seep in over the weekend. They will never get the stench of Adrian out of the fucking offices. That's my plan.
Uh-oh.
But unfortunately, all my friends are like pussies, and they don't want to go with that fucking plan.
I can't imagine why.
They just don't. They lack commitment. They tell me they love me, but they don't really love me.
Uh-oh.
I might be a little bit of a psychopath. It's possible.
Don't worry about it. We're going to help you. This is a group meeting / intervention. I'm going to try to tell you right now, everything's going to be okay.
Well, my buddy Rob, he had two different fuel plans.
Just
One
put the
was
mead down and let's talk slowly.
This is like a reverse tunnel into your soul.
One of my buddies, Rob, he had two different funeral plans. He's told me. One is to donate his body to a hot necrophiliac. But it's hard to find hot necrophiliacs. The other one was everybody cooks them, and whoever eats the most gets his inheritance. I don't think that's going to work out, though, because I don't expect him to have a whole lot of inheritance. But, you know, whatever you're into. Excuse my morbidity. Now, how to make it go back to switching to whoever's speaking at the moment? Because currently we're watching.
I think you click on the person who's already selected.
Actually, I think if I unshare my screen, it should work, maybe.
Maybe. I clicked on your name, and if you have some interesting show, we'll certainly share it out.
I don't have anything interesting to show. That's why I'm... Oh, yeah, I got to uncapture the...
I think we're back to actually going to whoever's speaking at the moment.
There you go. Should work now.
Testing. 1, 2,
nope,
3.
That didn't work.
Now, Andrew, I know Akashic Flow has been on previous streams, and so has Advanced. He's been on previous streams. Have you been on one of the previous streams, Andrew?
Negative.
But we normally do this on a Wednesday. I just happened to start one up. It's a 3.5 today, so you're more than welcome to join on Wednesdays too.
That's pretty cool. It sounds like you got a bunch of cool people joining here, doing a bunch of random cool stuff.
Well, we basically just sit down and bullshit about whatever we're up to at the moment and whatever we're thinking about at the time, and I drink mead and BS.
That's
And
what
I'm
he does.
having
What
a
he think
beer.
it is. It's an
God
intervention.
damn it.
Don't believe him.
We don't have a hard topic, and hell, sometimes the topics don't even really relate that much to security. But
sometimes people take naps and.
Yeah, we could
shit.
talk about security again.
Yes, I went back and checked the old stream, the last week Wednesday stream where y'all were talking about what are we gonna do about Adrian. Adrian's passed out on the couch. And,
You passed out. Yeah, you were
and yeah,
asleep.
and y'all mentioned I was passed out, and then someone called.
I know.
That was my brother calling me because I checked my
Oh my
phone later
goodness.
on. I eventually
Adrian!
wake up.
Was he like, yo, dog, you passed out on the couch?
Yeah, they said various things on stream, and when they said stuff on stream, it seems my brother Bedford called me to try to wake my ass up, but I still didn't wake up. But I
We
did
tried,
wake up
Adrian.
for the
We
end of the
tried,
stream.
but we respect. It was an awesome thing. It was cool.
So I guess I could talk about some more interesting InfoSec things. So before I got kicked out of Defcon last year,
Now, how
I
do you
was
get kicked
going-
out? I want to know. The most interesting thing to me right now is how do you get kicked out of DEFCON?
I'll tell you.
Because DEFCON is pretty much a debauched party, so you have to do something really bad to get kicked out of DEFCON. Don't you?
It wasn't bad. It's just that a few people got very butthurt. And those people happen to be involved in network security at Caesars. But I'll get to that in a moment. That still hasn't been resolved yet. But before I found out that it's not as safe as I thought it would be over there, my original talk was going to be on, have you ever heard of a function of Microsoft Office XP in 2003 called...
I think it gobbled that last syllable. What would you say?
versioning?
I know of versioning as far as tracking changes and such.
Uh-huh. It's one and the same. They did remove it in 2007. So the idea was that you could save multiple versions of the same file in the same file. And I still have yet to figure out how they screwed it up so bad. But I've got a public example of basically redacted information that got published by accident because when they made it into a PDF, they did it with Distiller 6, Acrobat 6, copy of Acrobat 7. That's the oldest one I have laying around. And for some reason, every version of that file was still inside the PDF. The reason I figured it out was I was looking at this maybe 20 or 30 page PDF, and most of it was redacted information, and it was 32 megs. I was like, why is this file 32 megs? There's no reason it should be 32 megs. It's mostly blank spaces, right? Now, this is unlike the other PDF issue, which is where they would actually go into PDF editor or Acrobat and put like blank plate, pieces of, shading or whatever over their text that they want to, or pictures they wanted to redact. This actually had different versions, so they did redact the information correctly. It's just that all the information was still there from the old version. You could simply load up the
XML
PDF.
data? Is it XML? Can you see it in the XML?
No, this is pre-XML. This is a doc file, just a doc.
File.
I'm not sure how they did it, like I said, but I know that they were using an old version of Office. I know they were using an old version of Acrobat, and I know that I'm able to pull revision 0 out, and it doesn't have any of the redactions on it. And I've been trying to replicate how they screwed it up ever since I found it.
Adrian, you remember when you said, I wonder if someone's going to take a screenshot of this on one of the Ironcasts? Check that picture out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to see how to switch the picture to you. Oh, yes, that one. My uncle's old flintlock.
Please leave it online. Just edit yourself out.
So anyway, going back to it, I know that you want to know how I got kicked out of Defcon now.
Yes.
So here's what happened. Okay, I set up a whole bunch of vintage equipment in the party room I was at. And I'm kind of happy a lot of people got to play with it and use it and such. And I carted it over from Arizona. I drove it all the way from here to there. And everything was going fine. And, well, we had to set up some internet for people to use. Because, what's a party room without internet? Yes, you got the booze, but you still need the goddamned internet. So initially, I was going to throw it through a cellular access point, but Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, they all struck out on the 26th floor of Bally's. Just, you're not getting any signal there. You're not getting any throughput there, And yeah, people are going to do shady shit on it probably, but that's not the point. We're too far away to get the Defcon Wi-Fi without breaking certain FCC rules. And I decided, no, we're not going to break any FCC rules, I decided we're not going to spoof any MAC IDs, off of someone else's Wi-Fi that's working. So I went through every single thing. I tried doing a Wi-Fi bridge that didn't work. They had some sort of countermeasure up. I'm not sure if anyone else tried to do a Wi-Fi bridge with a router, but certainly I wasn't having any luck at Bally's, which is funny because I was over at the Flamingo and it worked just fine over there.
Did you do like a point-to-point?
I'm getting there.
Did you build like a point-to-point?
I'm getting there. So what I did next was I noticed the party rooms, they had Ethernet in them, right? And the Ethernet led to the hotel guest Wi-Fi, the same network that did it. And I noticed that they tagged MAC IDs over to IP addresses. So I was like, okay, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to pay the insane amount of money, which was like $22 on a prepaid card, whatever. This is so everyone can have some fun. You know what I mean? So I threw up the Wi-Fi AP. I bound the MAC address to the IP that I wanted, basically. Paid the fee to access the net. And then I was like, well, okay, so that's working. Now we need to throw the Wi-Fi up. What should we name the Wi-Fi point? If I just name it, our party room or whatever, we're just going to get people, there's thousands of people with, Wi-Fi pineapples running around just trying to screw with everyone else's network. And this is just a dumb butt Linksys consumer model. It's not going to stand a chance. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's going to be completely raped. So I noticed that Caesars, they name all of their APs Greek alphabet letters. Alpha, beta, gamma, cool, okay? And, all of them have WPA2 encryption on them. And so I just went out. I was very tired at the time because I had already spent too many hours on it as it was, and it was night, and there was booze. Anyway, so I brought my laptop out. I did a site survey. I walked down the hall, found that they did not name any of the Wi-Fi access points Delta. At least so I thought. So I named the Wi-Fi point Delta. Tossed it up. No one dared touch it because it looked like a part of the network that they didn't want to screw with. So I was like, victory, right? So I set up my protocol analyzer on another Wi-Fi point that I had up, pointing to that one for internet. So, we could have our own little wall of sheep type thing. Because that's fun,
Yeah, the wall of sheep are fun. Have you seen the, Steven, I'm trying to think of Steve's last name. He made something called a Doppler. That was basically a wall of sheep that does a ton of different features. Way better than the wall of sheep I developed. And mostly better than the wall of sheep that's kind of put up by hand by the people at Defcon.
Yeah, mine was just a 1993 protocol analyzer, from back in the day with an amber screen. I was going to hook it up to a projector, but I didn't have the right cabling, but I still had it there. And it was just doing, capture in real time so you could see packets coming in. And the nice thing about those old systems is that they're really, really good and comprehensive. And, they've got real memory buffer in there capturing raw data as it comes in. And you get to see all the different special characters and all that other thing. It was a W&G model DC30 protocol analyzer. Really expensive thing at the time. I picked it up for nothing because they wanted to get rid of it. The coolest thing about it is it has a magnesium case. Anyway, getting on about it, I got everything working. I was tired as shit. I went downstairs to Paris and to, the really nice, awesome, like dim sum noodle place they got down there. Frickin' ate some dim sum. And when I came back up, all hell had broken loose. There were security people everywhere. There were goons everywhere. Nobody looked happy. And I went to the party room, and someone immediately pointed me out.
No,
because they asked who set this Wi-Fi up, and so I proceeded to tell them exactly what I did. That was a mistake. Man. That was a mistake. So I told them exactly what I did. Because first I was worried maybe some jackass took the Ethernet cable out and plugged it in the DHCP server, and now they're having problems because a dickhead was a dickhead, right? Or maybe even I did it because I was so tired. No, that's not what happened. So I tell my whole story, what I set up, how I set it up, and they weren't amused. They weren't even a little amused. They didn't find it funny. They were, the goons were not on my side at that point. Everything was going downhill. I dropped my ThinkPad on the floor after they started reading me a trespass statement for all of Caesar's properties in the entire world.
Forever?
Forever. And yeah. And so they let me recover my equipment. I had 3 hotel cartfuls of equipment, by the way. And they gave me 2 requests, which I asked for, which was 1, don't screw with my roommate at the Flamingo, please. And 2, I have a condition called ulcerative colitis. It means that I don't have control over my bowels at times because it's just a condition that I have. It's really annoying. So I'll need access to a bathroom at sometimes inopportune times, right? So anyway, so I get packed up, I get all my things. They basically asked me more about it. And they said, so what else did you do? And I said, well, that's it. That's all I did. And they thought I was lying. The goons thought I was lying because apparently they had been presented with, I don't know what they were presented with, but it must have been convincing, So later on, I find what they're telling me is that I was, they thought I was the Bally's official Wi-Fi, BALLY S or whatever, which was the one you log into for the Wi-Fi, and also whatnot. They thought I was doing a man in the middle on Bally's. They thought I was rebroadcasting Bally's SSID as Bally's and Bally's _free and Bally's _free Wi-Fi. Anyway, so they went on, they found these things, among other things. They went on a witch hunt.
Wait. So they were looking for pineapples and then you got in trouble for it?
Well, they weren't looking for Wi-Fi 8 access points, and I got in trouble for it. And the first thing I did was funny. They unplugged my access point from the wall. Anyway, so what they were telling me was that, oh, are you ready for this? Because this is the most unbelievable thing. They told me, then why did we get 40,000 hits a second on our SDR at this location? And I'm sitting, I said, what? And they said it again. And I said, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm thinking about, gee, if you got an SDR up, the noise floor at 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz is going to be ridiculous. But what's that have to do with hits a second? And I just don't get it, I finally break it down. You're a security expert. Please tell me what you're saying, because I don't understand it. Anyway, so I don't know if my equipment got used on it, but what I got told through the grapevine was that maybe somebody cloned the MAC ID of one of their main switches. I got told that maybe their kiosks and slot machines might be on the same network, not air-gapped to the one that they're using for guest Wi-Fi. And that also, because I had named mine Delta, that might have been an unbroadcasted SSID, and some of their carts and whatnot were trying to join my network with well, the incorrect password, because the correct password happened to be lulsec with 2 C's, but ignore that for the moment. But they figured that I was screwing up their entire network somehow. So
So
yeah.
you're on a hacker conference and then you're just gonna blame somebody?
Anyway, so I got kicked out. I got escorted out, and I packed my car, and they didn't allow me to. So first of all, Defcon was canceled. All right, for me. And once I got to my car and got everything loaded, you know, which took some time because, you know, when you have that much crap and you're trying to load it all into a Dodge Charger, it takes a lot of time to get it right. You know, it's Tetris. So I got it all loaded, and they wouldn't let me go to the restroom. So I lost my shit at Defcon 2. Thank you very much.
Ew.
It was horrible. So luckily it was just my underwear, but god damn it, it was embarrassing, you know?
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
It was awful. So I don't like Caesars. So anyway, so they decided to renege on that promise that they made to me. And then they also, when I got to the Flamingo, they banned my friend from ever staying at the Flamingo again. After, of course, locking the hotel room, taking pictures of everything before we got back in, and it was just horrible. So the next day, luckily, when I was still packing my stuff up, a lot of people in the party room donated some cash to me so I could get a different hotel for the last couple of nights, you know? And that's what I did. So I took all my stuff to the Westin, made sure, of course, it wasn't a Caesars property first, and asked the front desk lady, even though I knew it wasn't a Caesars property, if this was a Caesars property. I told her what happened because I didn't want there to be any surprises. She said, they're having a hacker conference. What did they expect? Right? And so she was awesome. She said, you know, we don't have any security issues this time. You know, and in fact, you know, most of our clientele, we've got feds everywhere if we need them. You know? So anyway, the point being is that it was a very horrible experience. I wish that on nobody. I fell through the cracks. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has had this experience. And it's just kind of horrible. So hopefully I'll be allowed to attend this year. I'm still working on it. They haven't gotten back to me. Let's see, last communication I had with the guy who's in the case.
You're more than welcome to DerbyCon, but it depends. Never mind. Sorry.
Good stuff.
All about the bad humor.
Yep.
I still go to Defcon every year, but that's because Wick pays for it, and I'd probably skip years if it wasn't for that because it's so
last
big.
Year was only my second one.
People you want to see, you know.
Well, I know I went to the first ones, but these ones are very different. I went to 21.
Yeah, my first one was 23, and I met the people who I cared about there, and none of them were a part of any talks or circuits or anything. They were just in the party rooms, and I was like, this is really cool. Someone brought an old Convergent Technologies Mighty Frame. That's where I experienced Unix System 5 for the first time, you know?
Yeah,
and
the first time I saw ZOS was in Defcon 5 and 6.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
do you guys
I really
love
wasn't a
ZOS
part
and
of...
mainframes?
Hmm?
Do you guys fuck around with ZOS and mainframes?
I've messed around with Fax VMS.
Yeah.
Very, very solid, stable system, by the way. And a lot of... It's kind of amazing if you go and look at the IBM mainframes, just how much of the world still runs on it right now. I'm not sure if Walgreens is still running on it, but they used to. And it was just the same software that they had run for many years, just ported to each new box, you know, through the AS400 years, through all kinds of different things.
Well, I know you can test a new one for free online right now. You get like a month or something. And a small little mainframe cluster. And they ported Go into like ZOS now, so you can run Go. You don't have to run like OCOM, whatever they call it.
Although I do have a question for you. Messing with OS 400 a few times, with the COBOL system, and various databases, I noticed it's almost impossible to figure out if you've been broken into, or if the people are still on the same system. Like, your array of system administrator tools is so complicated and confusing that I think that it would probably be impossible to detect an intrusion as it's happening on one of those systems.
I mean, yeah, and you can't shut it down because it's just gonna, it's bad. But yeah, I think everything's changed now. I mean, the new ZOS system is just another beast. I mean, at least I've been programming in Go for like 2 years and a half. And it's definitely a different world right now. So I've heard of people installing Kubernetes and CoreOS within the ZOS and then running everything from there and keeping that isolated, kind of like a DOM 0 on a Zen system.
I'm still not convinced that that's the way to isolate things.
I'm no expert on the subject. I just play around with it. So that's what I've read and people I've talked to in forums. The people, you know how it is, like, you go to...
Well, containers the new hotness right now, no matter how you specify it or do it. Well, yeah, containers will run within containers, will run within containers.
No, wait. The thing is, Zen, right?
Yeah.
So Zen OS. So basically, you take a DOM 0, and then you have Zen. Then you basically have independent kernels for whatever things, ISOs you're running up, or whatever VM you're running within Zen. So it isolates everything. I mean, you can isolate graphic cards, USB ports, at least with Zen. The things with Docker is you're sharing the same kernel with everything.
That's true. But usually those instances that are running Docker are also run within a VM themselves. And those are going to run on a hypervisor, be it Zen or VMware or whatever their flavor of poison is. But what I'm saying is I'm sure that there are vectors and attacks you can use against systems that do that you wouldn't be able to use against real hardware.
Oh, yeah, it's not if something's going to get hacked. It's a matter of time.
It's funny. Nacho Cheese mentioned that his old employer still runs OS 2. Up until very recently, a lot of ATMs used to run OS 2. And I don't remember what it was called, but they had a new name for the OS 2 system that they used that was updated for security issues. But it really wasn't an issue since most of those systems worked on via dial-up or dedicated T1 type systems.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about like fiber? Google Fiber going everywhere. They're in Austin.
They were going to install it here, and our local guys, Cox Communications, COX Communications, they were installing fiber to your door when they heard that Google was coming. And so they started in the richest neighborhoods first. Then Google said, we're not coming in Phoenix anymore. And then Cox stopped their deploy. So we're stuck in the dark ages, thanks partially to Google Fiber.
Stupid.
I'd like to have fiber in my area. Unfortunately, the fastest I got is about 50 megabits. I'm down and 5 up, which is okay. It's not bad.
That's still better than my friend in Tennessee's doing.
Where in Tennessee are they?
Oh, he's in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee.
Shit. Yeah, I was gonna say if you're in Nashville or something, you're probably okay. But
yeah, he basically has a choice between Charter, who's 1 mile away and won't install it, Hughes, which I don't have to say anything about.
No, please no.
And and he's got one other DSL company that provides, but they bandwidth cap. which is ridiculous. They bandwidth cap at like 10 gigs, and then they cap the connection. And
We
the
have a
connection
couple cons I
only-
go to down in Nashville and enjoy it a lot, but I imagine some of the rural parts of have sucky.
Oh no, he gets 1 meg down, 128K up, and he pays like $80 a month for it.
Fuck.
Yeah, just yeah.
Well, I would just set up my own satellite if I'm paying that much.
We've often joked that we were going to that he should build a shed because he's got 1 mile of property, right? Build a shed with solar panels, give it an address that fits within Charter's address scheme. So then they have to run a cable out to him.
Or you can run a point-to-point. There's some ubiquity bullets.
Oh dear.
Sorry, I had to share some Kinza Solar goodness.
Well, it was looking pretty cool there for a second.
I used to watch a TV show called Lost Girl. It was about various types of fairies and so forth, and fae type characters. I lost interest about 2 years ago, but the 2 lead actresses in it are very beautiful, and despite the fact they're Canadian, I would accept them in the United States. Generally, I'm for building a wall between us and Canada, but these 2 I'd let immigrate. You can't you can't be too passive with those ice backs. Sorry, continue. I'm being an asshole.
I'm actually reading Nacho Cheese's comment about Diebold running XP, and all I think about Diebold is just how completely insecure all of their stuff has been for the past.
Well, actually, do we know much about him besides? Oh crap! I don't know what I can say and can't say. Let's put it this way.
We can talk about their voting systems, can't we?
Yeah, we can. They sold off most of that shit way back in the day, because it was more bad PR than it actually made money for them. So we can talk about the voting systems, but most of that shit has already been like 10 years ago been sold off.
I'm saying that the same method of development in their voting machines applies to their ATMs too, and probably a lot of other things they made.
They're safes. They're diamond safes in New York City.
Engineering styles can if
that's
it's
really
part of a project or whatever, it's gonna be part of the product.
But yeah, I think that by looking at other products a company makes, you can get a really good idea of their habits and when it comes to developing other products. And I've found that time and time again when I have a device made by a company and it might be more open than another device that I'm trying to get into or use or fix. And usually I can use bits of information I get from the other device to fix or improve or break into the other one, just because I can say, well, gee, they did it this way here on this one. Even though this is a completely different product, I wonder if they did the same thing. Oh, look, they just copied and pasted the same code. They already had it. They decided it was good enough, so they used it in both places. But they didn't document it in this one.
Yeah, that happens everywhere, man.
But wait, engineers out there, don't feel discouraged of still copying and pasting anything you want. I'm down with it.
Yeah, but, it's just kind of weird.
I know. And it's just, the thing is, also remember, when you're working in big teams like that, bureaucracy is a bitch.
Oh, no kidding. Well, everyone knows about the Ford Edsel, right?
No.
Oh, no, you should look that story up, because if you want to know about bureaucracy, Ford and the Edsel is probably one of the best stories for explaining that. But basically, you remember oh man, I'm really dating myself. Do you ever watch the old Dilbert cartoons that were made out from the comic strip?
Yeah.
You remember the one with the name, where they had to come up with the name first?
No.
Okay, well, there was one.
I remember something about food. they were trying to feed
The
people.
Gruntmaster something or other. Someone in chat will probably remember. Gruntmaster 4000? I don't know, but basically it drove Gilbert completely insane because they had to decide the name of the product before they decided what the product was going to be. Well, they were going to make a new car at Ford, and they decided to start with the name, but they were doing it completely by committee. Pretty much everyone on the board at that time had no idea what to do when making cars. So they decided to do it by committee. You know, one of the guys said, "Oh, gee, we should name it after, you know, Edsel Ford. We should name the car after Edsel Ford." And eventually, they said, "No, that's kind of a crappy name for a car. We can't have that. You know, we can't have a car named Edsel. You know." So, all right, we got to come up with a name for a car. Then they started instituting restrictions, like, it can't be, you know, a name with these letters. It can't be a name with these letters. It can't translate in another language to something that's bad. You know, the list went on of all the requirements, and so they came up with a list of like 4 or 5 or 7 names, and they still couldn't decide. So they decided, okay, Ford employees, we're gonna have this contest. Whoever, you know, picks the winner, you'll get in a drawing and you'll win one of these cars, you know, that we haven't even made yet. So everyone and his brother comes up with a name. They condense the list down, and amazingly, they come up with the same 5 or 6 different names that they had thought up after months of fiddling around and whatever. And so apparently one of them started asking one of the relatives of the Ford family what they should name it, and he decided to throw in a towel, and one of the suggested names was apparently Droff, which is Ford spelled backwards.
No, man.
So anyway, they were all frustrated. Everyone wanted to go home one night, and they finally said, "Why don't we just name the car Edsel?" And so they did. And it was an awful car because of the way they built the car then, which was all by committee. And to make matters worse, no one knew how to put it together the right way, and they put the Edsels on the same line as other cars. So like you'd build like 5 or 10 or 20 other cars, and then this Edsel would come down, and then they didn't give the assembly guys the right instructions of the right parts, so a lot of them arrived at dealerships without the right parts installed or installed wrong. Or like parts from a Ford truck like grafted onto it because they didn't know why it didn't fit. Because like all of the parts were different for the Edsel because everything had been designed new. So
are there pictures of this?
Oh, you should see what. Yeah, hang on. Let me pull up a picture of what the Edsel looks like, because you need to see just how. I'm sure that you've seen this car before. You've had to seen this car before. Let's see. There we go. It's probably one of the ugliest cars I have ever seen, honestly, and it looks even uglier in real life. Let's see. Let's share this. And
that should be in a History of Hackers book.
So here, this is the Edsel. This is the Ford Edsel.
All right.
See the front grille?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's what they look like. You can read the entire story. I'm sure it's on Wikipedia or something, because I'm sure I've got things wrong about it. But it was they killed it off after only a few years. It had a lot of features that would be, you know, new. Oh, I forgot to show you what the steering wheel looked like. Hang on, because you select gears using the steering wheel. And this was something that was challenging to say the least. So this was actually a design failure as well as a overall failure. So this is the steering wheel of an Edsel, and the center part floated, right? So this is the steering. So what do you think happens when you go to slam the horn?
I don't know. It's a Rubik's cube.
You switch gears.
Yeah. What? Holy.
You better not hit it in park.
Oh wow, those are gears that one. Holy shit.
Yeah. Anyway, that was
Are
just
these like
another great
are these like
idea
rum
that
runner
we had.
cars or something? Like they
What?
need to like just move their hands and drive fast.
No. The center floated, so that stayed still, but the rest of the wheel moved around it. And the
Oh,
horn
wow.
was that silver thing that's underneath it, so you had to hit that to hit the horn. So anyway,
But somebody broke the transmission trying to hit that.
yes, it did happen because Ford did think of it, and they put in a mechanism to avoid it. But under the right circumstances, you could still hit it into the wrong gear, and it would go into the wrong gear, and then horrible things would happen.
How does it change it from that little button? Is it all electronic?
No,
Or is it,
it's
like,
it's
hydraulic?
actually all mechanical linkage.
Wow, I don't know why I saw like a hydraulics in my it was like a low.
Oh, don't worry. Ford did put hydraulics on things. They put hydraulics on Lincoln Continentals. In fact, their windshield wipers were hydraulic, which meant when they started leaking, they started spraying hydraulic fluid inside the car.
Oh shit! That's the worst thing ever. I saw a guy on a car show once, and he had like a lowrider, and his hydraulic busted in the trunk, and all this. It just smelled horrible, like tar. I don't know, like oily everywhere. It was bad.
You know what? I should find an ad for this thing because it was impressive just how much marketing went into it. This thing. And let's see. Do screen share. Okay, so now we've got screen share back up, and one of the first ones I'm trying to find one of the first ads they ran because they actually covered the cars up because they were so ugly.
Oh my god. Edsel, ED. What the fuck is that?
This is the Ford Edsel. We've been talking about it.
Adrian has a boar head. Check him out.
Nice.
Dude, is that... Oh no, put that back on,
That's
please.
Pumbaa or whatever. What the fuck? That guy's a Pumbaa or something?
Look at him.
What is that song from that movie about Pumbaa? What is that tune?
Lion King?
Yeah, what is the name of
Hakuna
that song?
Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Oh my god.
Hey, it's
Dude,
new
that
Nifty
should be-
Thrifty, everybody.
All right, the story behind this thing. My uncle back in the 80s, I think he either shot this with a bow or a gun. I don't remember which. I don't have room for it, so I'm gonna give it to my favorite bar. They're gonna put it in the red room. The red room is basically where they have a bunch of paraphernalia from the former USSR. So originally I thought it was inappropriate because my uncle was a Republican. But then I realized that a capitalist pig invading the commies is probably a pretty cool thing. So I figured him being hung up in the red room is just fine.
I like that.
Dude, you could
It's
get
a good
like
way of thinking about it.
you can get like a little like a bullet necklace from an AK from like a rifle, and they call snipers from the Marines, they call them hogs. They're like hunter of gunmen.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So you can have the hog head, and then you can have the bullet, and whoever's a sniper Marine will identify it. You'll get it.
Isn't it cute? I'm gonna go mic me up. Hello.
I wonder what kind of toothpaste that guy's using. It's pretty good.
So are we doing a CTF and just doing jokes through it one of these days?
We can. Someone wants to plan up a CTF.
We can just stream it live and just curse at it.
Oh man, I imagine most CTFs would be kind of boring because there's gonna be a lot of people typing into their terminals trying to do something. You need someone to do color commentary and be watching people, but then that will let other teams know what someone's doing. There's some things that just don't really. Unfortunately, I don't think hacking is one of those things that really aligns itself with other people being entertained by watching it.
Well, it's not for people; it's for us. So
well, you forget that there are people now who watch people code online.
Yeah.
Wow.
Watch people pay. You know what? There are. If you look at I actually have a video of me installing Unix on on the VirtualBox and on a real computer, and there are like a couple of thousand idiots who actually watched it, and I still cannot believe it.
I still don't get why PewDiePie is like the #1 YouTuber out there. I don't want to watch other people play video games. I don't get it. I'm not against the guy, but I don't get why people do that.
Check out that link I just sent there. That's BizQuit, BISQWIT.
Hey, I need to restart my stream so I can actually.
Hello. Do you like programming? Do you fondly remember DOS programming and VGA graphics?
This guy's awesome, man.
Free software.
This guy's fucking awesome.
Can somebody share this, please?
Just show like cracking video game passwords or something like that. He's really good, man. It's really good.
Man, but we just I mean, I'm thinking doing a CTF, but on a comedy way, like, you know.
Hello, everybody.
It'd be funny.
Now I have a webcam.
I'm gonna try to share this.
Many old games
sound may be low.
Passwords to save and load the game. I am Biscuit, and in this series we crack video game password generators. Punch out bang bang.
Yeah, watch this, man. It's awesome.
As old as Mike Tyson's Punch Out Bang Bang.
Theater mode.
When Nintendo and Mike Tyson ended, Nintendo re-released the game as simply Punch Out Bang Bang and replaced the last opponent, Mike Tyson, with a generic Mr. Dream. Anyway, this game has 10-digit passwords. They are visually grouped like phone numbers to make them easier to remember. All that is saved
Can you all hear that?
password is seen on
Yeah.
the screen. The win count, the loss count, the number of wins, and the game progress, where you are currently competing, major circuit, world circuit, or the world circuit title bout. There are no passwords for the minor circuit. This makes the number of possible passwords 90,000. However, there are limitations. The number of wins by KO cannot be larger than the number of wins. This makes the number of passwords about half of that. Except, there's a bug in the game that makes the number slightly larger. We will explore the bug later in this video. In reality, the number is even larger. First things first, the password is made of base 10 digits. Computers deal with numbers. One would assume that 0 means 0, 1 means 1, and so on, right? Wrong. The meaning of the digits depends on the position. I'm sure this table looks very confusing, so let's take a look at the code. Everything becomes clear when we see source code. That's why I am so much a fan of free and open source software. Whenever there's something weird in how software behaves, take a look at the source code and everything becomes clear. So is the case here. I am not sure why these two pieces are so different, even though they do pretty much the same thing. Let's look at the encoder since it's shorter. What happens here is that for each of the 10 positions in the password, a value is taken from the table at that position and added to the digit found in the password. If the result is 10 or greater, 10 is subtracted to keep the value in 0 to 9 range. The decoding is exactly the same, except that instead of adding, it subtracts. Here is the same code translated to some language. For each digit in the password, the digit is added or subtracted when encoding or decoding, and the result is wrapped to the 0 to 9 range. At this point, the game expects that each digit in the password is in 0 to 7 range. They may not necessarily be, but it expects that they are. All the following algorithms assume that the digits are 3-bit. Only the first 8 digits fit in 3 bytes. Numbers 8 and 9 do not fit in 3 bits because their binary representation contains 4 or more digits. The numbers shown in this table are mathematics, nothing specific.
No.
So at this point, the game treats the password as 10 units of 3-bit values. The low 2 bits in the last unit, unit number 9, are read and interpreted as a rotation count. All the other bits in the rest of the password are rotated by this number of positions. When decoding, they are rotated in the manner shown in this chart. When encoding, they are rotated exactly the same, except in the opposite direction. After the rotation, the next step is that the game merges each pair of 3-bit units into 6-bit units. This merging is done with simple shift and OR operations. Now, to study the meanings of each bit in the password, it may be necessary to give each bit a name. Let's use Latin letters. This way it becomes easier to track which bit goes where. Here,
Could you imagine working with 6 bits of data?
The wins, the losses, the knockouts, and various other data by taking groups of 2 bits.
It's nuts, man. The way he breaks shit down.
Integer. All bits are used for something. There are no unused bits. Technically, one could skip the part where 3-bit units were merged into 6-bit units, but if you want to accept and deny exactly the same passwords as the game does with all its quirks, you must repeat the same steps. In any case, here is all the data that was extracted from the password. The game does pretty extensive checks to make sure the data is valid. However, one of those checks has a little bug in it. This bug makes it possible to have more wins by KO than there are wins total. If the number of total wins is less than 10,
I'm going to show Corey the arsenal, so have fun.
When you look at the code. Here is a program that I wrote in JavaScript. It prints the list of all passwords that can be decoded. Now here is a question for you. Earlier we noticed that there are no unused bits.
Adrian!
Adrian! What about Adrian? What do you need? I'm here. My buddy Corey just came to the door. What's up?
Come back, Adrian!
Can you stop the video? That's
stop it.
I don't know. I can't watch people just talking about coding. That sounds a little boring.
Well, he is the man. It's kind of, I don't know.
So I'm back. Me and my buddy Corey.
Art right there. If you understand it.
How do I stop screen sharing?
You already have.
Cool. My buddy Corey just got here, so you all carry on the conversation. Andrew, I see your picture is now up on there. My buddy Corey bought me a little bit of mead. Actually, I'll turn on my camera just long enough for you to see that.
Cool.
How many grams of mead?
Hello. So you all carry the conversation. I'm going to show him the arsenal I currently have, and I'll be back down in a short bit. But y'all carry on the conversation, please.
Yeah, mute it.
So who knows what this is?
Let me see.
Looks like a calculator.
Like a project case with
like one of those
phone
keypads.
That's a black box. That's a blue box.
Yeah, you got a
blue box.
That's nice. Flintlock you have.
So one of the projects I've got is I'm rebuilding a Steve Wozniak blue box from his circuit, and this isn't that. That's just one made of an Arduino, but they have very different tones from what you're normally used to.
Do the 2600 one, just for class.
There you go. A lot of people don't know where 2600 comes, even though they attend the meeting.
It's
actually
fucking missile, isn't it?
bad.
That's true. It's very true.
I can't do it.
I can't do it either. I got a friend who's got the Captain Crunch whistle though, and those work pretty well. And I do have a whistle I 3D printed that almost works sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. And
You have
the
the
reason I
STL
know it almost
model
works
online?
is there's this really cool thing called Project MF, where you can actually go into the system and use MF tones to screw with different people's phone gear, including a really cool one called stepswitch.us. I highly recommend you look that up, as well as the Collector Phone Network, because they have some pretty cool stuff.
So what in terms of freaking and stuff nowadays is relevant?
Well, if you jack into someone else's network and step switch, then yes, you can do all the freaking you want. Now, there are probably things you can do to the phone systems, but it's all going to be tracked. It's all digital, and there's really no point to it. I mean,
how about TTY? Like I say, if you were trying to fake a blind hacker.
Well, you could totally do that, but again, you're going through the same digital links. In fact, a lot of those TTY devices have issues now because they're going through voice over IP systems, and they are not very good with modems, I found. Because, you know, the original reason I got into phone phreaking and stuff like that was actually because I got a lot of vintage computers I display, and I decided I wanted them on the internet. And the easiest way to get them on the internet, well, you can make an Ethernet controller for them, or you can use a computer attached to a serial port in some cases. But all these computers generally have modems. So I thought, oh, gee, I need 2 phone lines that I can you know, interface to each other. Can I use those Vonage devices that I see at Goodwill for like $2 and $3? And the answer is yes and no. Because they have something called T38 fax protocol, and that's good for 14.4 or 9600, mostly 9600. But if you don't get it connected just right, it's going to throw so many errors that it's not even worth using. Some ATAs
Isn't that all in the grounding or something like that? Isn't that all in the grounding? I'm not an expert at it.
No, it's because the voice compression as well as the echo cancellation that some of these things have are really bad with modems. So you have to find one with a good enough filter that doesn't bother the modem that you're trying to use. And it's kind of like fax machine roulette on what works and what doesn't. I haven't found a really good way of doing it yet.
All right, Andre, I have a question for you that I just remembered. Do you remember back in the day, there was this like cafe online, but they had a visual modem with like black and white dots?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, do you know if there's any way of turning a symphonic tone, like the symphonic modems, into visual data and reading that data, say through a YouTube video?
Sure there is. Sure there is. Just use a logic analyzer. And maybe well, I'd actually have to see the device itself, but it would probably be fairly easy to just do that. I mean, worst case scenario, you could throw a webcam at it and use machine learning. Or not machine learning, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I don't know, because I was thinking if you can like literally...
I'll be back in a minute.
Say, instead of doing like a live YouTube stream, you could do like an encrypted data stream instead of using black and white, using the RGB scale to transfer data through a video.
You could do that,
Another
but
system.
you could do that, but you know it's kind of pointless once you start oversaturating the data.
I see.
It's not a case of you have different wavelengths to work with, more as it is that you only have a fixed bandwidth. Because, you know, when you're dealing with single mode or multi-mode fiber, that's a completely different story. I didn't make any sense. I didn't make any sense there. Just ignore it. Now, there have been a few interesting things that have been done, and one of the guys I was hanging out kind of hoped that this would be done. Okay, so have you seen those Internet of Things light bulbs that exist, Philips or whatever?
Yeah. Yep, I got a couple.
Well,
My lab.
here's something that you might think about. What if you took one of those light bulbs and you put a microphone on one of the light bulbs, or you found a part inside that light bulb that happens to oscillate with vibration,
Right now they could.
and you can actually take that then and encode it into the light data, because it'll do RGB light data.
Mm-hmm.
What if you could actually make that data through firmware actually just pulse the light a bit in one color or another? Not so much that you would notice, but enough that you could point something at the window, check the wavelength difference, and then get your data out of it, and then have a bug.
That could be a good decoy if you're like a badass hacker. You had like this light in this club that gave you the data.
Yeah.
And you pointed
That'd be a sweet fucking movie heist thing, man. Where's the data coming through?
Li-Fi,
bro.
around
Li-Fi,
and
it
Oh,
exists.
no, I'm
they
actually
got
just.
this fucking sensor pointing in the
you
middle of the dance
No one
floor.
knows a lot about guns. Do you think would it be okay if I said, "Hey, you should come check out Adrian's guns"?
Yeah, if you can
Tell them-
hear within a relatively short time, sure.
Well, I just meant like
At some point, yeah,
I
sure.
don't-
Hey, you should mute that conversation.
Oh, sorry, guys. We're talking about. I was showing my my buddy Corey various guns I have recently inherited,
And the hoghead, remember that.
and the hoghead. The hoghead though is going to my favorite bar. But yes. Hey, Corey, introduce yourself to the people in the stream.
Hi, I'm Corey. I
Hello, Corey.
kind of do computer stuff, kind of too. I'm not like a security person though.
Hey,
That's
everybody
okay.
counts.
None of us start out to be security people until we accidentally become security people.
That's pretty much true. Yeah, I originally started
Yeah.
as a help desk person, so
I'm probably
I'm still trying to get a job in my field.
as weird as you guys, so that probably helps.
I started off as a security guinea pig, and now I'm a security guy.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I'm mostly on the research side. I like research and trends and stuff like that. That's just
I
me.
like breaking things.
reverse engineering. Break all the things, Andrew.
Yes.
I like a sense of accomplishment. Whenever I feel like I've accomplished something, whether that's in software or hardware, what have you,
this one.
even mechanical shit,
Oh,
that's what I'm after. That's me.
So here's a question. Do any of you guys use Kubernetes by any chance?
use what now?
Kubernetes is the
Can't say that I
clustering
do,
system
no.
from Google now. Used to be CoreOS.
Nope.
No.
What
Trying
are
to
you
figure out
doing?
talks. Like,
What are you
do all kinds of stuff
doing
with it.
with that kind of shit?
What?
Like, what made you search that kind of shit out?
Oh no, just
What's-
creating like fully. I'm into like VM stuff, I guess you could call that. And I find it interesting how you can like create different clusters, and if you were going to do like a phishing attack, you can create individual phishing accounts using BusyBox containers. You can have each user its own little container that you attack, and monitor that little container in case there's a breach from his side. It's just thinking of ways of how would an attacker use it, basically. And for like global malware,
So you don't set up like little tiny labs, like virtual labs, and then
oh yeah,
attack them?
basically I use DigitalOcean and just the Google Cloud, and I just run scripts and I get them out. I don't have any bare metal systems for like running CoreOS other than within like a server running Zen, and then I run Zen server, and I have different servers there, which I do all
So
the fuzzing and stuff like that, like using OSS fuzz.
So do you dig into network security and stuff like that in these virtual environments?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a. There's a lot of stuff where you can like, you're usually attacking drivers and stuff like that. The only cool thing I know, Zen, it's been vulnerable a lot. It's because it's been out there for a long time, but it's a lot more secure now than what it was, and you can isolate a lot more than using a container-based system where it's not really isolation. It's basically a small layer of isolation compared to using a Zen-based environment handled properly, or using like Mirage OS or something like that, and some unikernels.
So that's a problem nowadays. Is everything is kind of everything is just so off the shelf
Yeah.
that and there's so many SKUs for everything, right? And with something like that that's been around, it's kind of had time to evolve and become secure because the developers make it that way. But
Yeah.
all the other shit that just hits the market, floods the shelves and shit like that, it's just happening too fast. And
Oh no, it's pretty insane. Like at least I don't know if you guys run Bro IDS, but if not, Google it, broids.org. Incredible intrusion detecting system. You can link it out with like a L stack or elastic stack, however you want to call it now. And you can visually see everything that's happening. The cool thing about I like using the VMs is that even though people hack it sometimes, I can isolate it. Kind of like running my little cloud server system, but it's just miniature, you know what I'm saying? And kind of like learn to see what's out there, and hopefully I want to do something like run out phishing and see if I can get some 0 days off the market.
Well, I had access to somebody's full house automation server.
Oh wow!
I could change their wine cellar temperature and shit if I really wanted to. It was like a big house. It was like a mansion. It had a pool and it had driveway cameras and pool camera everywhere around the house.
Where was this? Palm Springs or the Hamptons?
No, I shouldn't really be saying too much, anyways. But I never got through that. Like I had control of all of that, but I never actually stepped outside of that into the OS at all.
Well, basically, what you have to look for are those big houses. They use Honeywell a lot.
Well, it was something similar. It's not Honeywell though. Not in this case.
It wasn't Honeywell. Well, I was gonna let you know. You can definitely supposedly fuck up their web protocol stuff. Is always broken. You can SSL strip it and do whatever you want.
Yeah, sometimes you can put in text boxes and shit, escape characters and stuff like that, and run system commands and shit like.
That reminds me of two really funny things that are both insecure. One of them I never played with much, which was Honeywell RedLink. I just assumed that it was very unwell documented and probably very security.
Red Hat?
No, RedLink. REDLINK. Yeah, they're to control HVAC controls and such over Ethernet.
See, something like that.
I saw some of the adapters at Goodwill.
Device. Are they fed electricity through a PoE, or is it just?
No, they're not. Okay. It's something like Zigbee, from what I understand.
Okay.
You know, where it's a wireless protocol.
Mm-hmm.
If you look up Honeywell RedLink, you'll kind of see that.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say the nice thing about these devices is that like a building will buy this device to have it there for the next at least 15 years, right? Like they are committing to that device. It's like an HVAC thing, you know. They're not upgrading.
Well, you and me both know, because they're built so horribly, they'll probably get 5 years out of it max.
So I'm just surprised, like, if they're going to put it on any sort of internal infrastructure network thing. I would be very surprised.
Build it into the building without even realizing it, for the most part.
Yeah.
And the consumer stuff will be consumer stuff. And just like what happened to all the people running the iFi cards, they're going to find out that if their service has cloud-enabled service, that the manufacturer is going to dump them whenever they decide it's not profitable anymore.
That is very true. But also, you have to see, like, man, these guys in these C-class and the C-class positions, they definitely are handling a lot of fucking money. And one little, oh yeah, let's just do this one line. There goes 100,000 people fired.
What do you mean one line?
Meaning, like, they see like an Excel sheet, right? Like from the CFO, from the financial officer, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna cut the budget right here. I'm gonna mark it in green and red."
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much.
One line.
Now, and those are the people who you know, every day decide our fate in certain things.
Oh yeah, he could have a bad day and fuck us over too. Short the whole.
Or
fucking
he could just fuck everybody over and not know he's fucking people over because all the people who work under him are telling him other things. I've seen that before as well.
Oh yeah.
I remember my dog I used to have. We would laugh back and forth, me and my brother. We were just watching him stare at us, and we had like a treat or something, or we were just eating something, human food, and we're like, if Max had a button in front of him which he would push just to kill us right now so he could eat the thing that we're eating, would he push that button?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we were looking at
man.
his face and we were like, fuck yeah, he'll push the button. But I don't know where I was going with that, but
I don't know, but it must have had something to do with cats and the fact that the cat might not push the button right away, but eventually the curiosity would get the best of it and it would push it.
No, I know what you're saying. It's like marking that piece of paper is like hitting the button, so he can continue doing whatever he needs to do.
I find a lot of social engineering attacks are kind of like that as well. It's like if you leave a USB flash drive out in the parking lot, it's kind of like, will the cat push the button? Will the dog push the button? You know what I mean? It's kind of like...
Well, if the dog knows that it'll get food, it will definitely push the button. The cat...
Yeah, well, so then what do you put on the label then?
If the cat knows it'll get the food, who knows what the cat will do, because cats are weird.
Maybe you put $20 reward on the flash drive or something.
They're still going to plug it in because people want to know what's up. They're curious.
Make them push the button.
Someone stole my flash drive, and they put it in their computer, and I got a ping back. And then they deleted everything off the drive and used it for themselves.
Do you know what I have?
But wasn't it running in RAM at that point?
It's just I dropped it on campus, and I didn't know it until I got back home.
No, I know that they deleted the drive and they used it, but wasn't the program running in there on in memory at that
Well,
point?
that wasn't the point. It did eventually close, but I didn't really have remote access. It was just something I put in there because I could never find that thumb drive whenever I leave it in one of my computers at home. So I'd want to know which IP it threw it in. And then I found out that the code I had copied to make that happen, it was just a simple batch file that ran on an auto run. It was good enough to do it over the internet too and tell me what was going on the drive.
Okay, so it's like an unexpected ping.
Here's a legal loophole, guys, that you guys can do
A
too.
ping from the dead.
Yeah, no, but check this out. You can put a disclaimer on your USB drive. This is part of my personal research. By plugging this device into any other device, you basically pass the ownership to me. If you keep the USB drive, for every day, I'm going to charge you a penny. And then you put for every penny, then I'm going to do that by the power of 2 every day. I'm going to add that penny. Dude. And it's legal because they accept it by keeping.
What about just giving them an EULA? That's supposedly legal, even though it won't hold up in court.
No, yeah, because you can put the document in there inside the USB drive, kind of like burn it, kind of like an ISO. And they'll be agreeing to it by continuing. Please read this. If they don't read it, that's their problem. You just gotta show them once. Or a EULA, yeah, a EULA will definitely be better. Like that guy in the 2000s who had that virus that had a EULA, and he still wasn't charged with anything because the people agreed to it.
They agreed to get fucked.
Yeah, they basically the malware had a EULA, so every time they click the agree
Oh
on the
my
EULA,
god.
the guy basically
that's hacking +1, man. Like you're thinking outside the computer at that point.
So I've got a question for you. A while back ago, I was at a trade show and Honeywell was there, and they were showing this device that scans thumb drives. You know, the whole
Yeah.
entire point being, you know, you have to secure your thumb drives, blah, 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 blah. And I said, what if the thumb drive I plug into your scanner has modified firmware? And they never did get back to me on that.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is this, the power, like, you know, people talk about ring 0, user 1, 2, and 3. I call it ring -1, anything in your hardware. It's like,
Well, technically
BIOS.
speaking, it's still ring 0.
Yeah,
Well,
I know, but
like,
I call it -1 because it's like above that. You don't even need a hard drive or an operating
if
system.
you go to a company with that kind of claim and expect support, they're going to go, well, you're 0.0005% of people that need help today, so they're not going to answer your question. And you got to think about the people who are answering
Yeah, but the people who they
question
were
in the
going
first
after,
place.
hang on, the people they were going after,
These
as
are customer
customers.
service reps. They have no idea.
Yeah.
Man.
True, but you know, I'm talking about, you know, engineers, and I did get an engineer down there for this, and I posed that question to him because the market they were going after were the people who were affected, you know, and were afraid of being affected by things like Stuxnet. And I'm sorry, but that's very, very hard to protect against. And a big little touch tablet that's got a USB port and scans your drive for malicious files is not going to protect you against that.
The Tron script, have you seen that on Windows?
No.
Yeah, but Stuxnet targeted PLCs, didn't
It did.
Yeah.
But do you know how it got there?
Well, via USB. Yeah.
Yeah,
USB flash
because
drive.
they had to deal with a couple of different sneaker nets. So they had to infect a computer, which would then infect the PLC software, which would then go to another computer that was the production computer, and eventually infect the real PLCs on the real network once it finally got there to be
See,
up.
those guys must have had
Insider information.
Well, definitely insider information, or a mock setup of their own, in which
They had a
could
double
test it.
agent. That was too fucking. That was too, like, that was like a, like an operation. That was like surgically done.
Like Stuxnet is SurgiNet or something.
No, Stuckness is like a freaking $billion project. That's what
Yeah, the
happened
whole
to stop
point. The
nuclear
whole point.
problems.
The whole
Well,
point of
there's-
Stuxnet was to actually alter variable frequency drives that were running at a very specific RPM with load, and then induce vibrations and other things into it, which would then cause what happened to be the exact conditions you need to enrich.
Okay.
Yeah,
This is my
using a
point.
centrifuge
This is my point, though.
to screw up.
Unless you have a mock setup of everything that's in there, how are you going to make it so far down the chain of success, I guess?
You'd be
if you're in a time
surprised.
machine,
If
you
you
find
just
out
know a
that you
few
stop it.
things about the network, you can figure that out. Like they figured, like you could probably figure out what kind of PLCs they're using based upon the requirements of, say, you know how much, because you're a secret government agency, how much power is needed and precision is needed to run
but there's
a motor on a.
There's a shit ton of protocols and everything else.
Dude.
They were targeting the one that was being used. There's so many different industrial PLCs and everything available.
There are. And
they use different protocols and everything. Those guys targeted the exact protocol.
To be inside there, talking to another engineer, to talk to a software developer to make this happen.
But still, it's pretty impressive nonetheless.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely the best of all times. Also,
is that if you have a whole industry that uses jelly bean parts, such as PLCs, it's not that hard of a stretch to put together a generic attack that will work on several different protocols.
Right,
and
but you need
several different classifications of.
You need access to all of that. Like you need to have something like a mock setup.
Like a scale? You mean to a scale? Like they only.
You don't need a mock setup if you know a certain attack will work on a series of PLC. You can pretty much virtualize everything nowadays using software.
Right. That's
You
what I
don't need to
mean.
have the
You
actual
can have a
hardware.
virtual lab or whatever, but depending on what the PLCs are running, you'd also have to set those up virtually somehow as well.
Well, I know with LabVIEW, you can. I don't know if you guys ever use LabVIEw. When you
Yep.
set up your lab, you can
That's
like
National Instruments or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
National Instruments
You can
Lab.
you make the nodes, and you can have like a hardware node, and you can literally feed whatever you want to that through Ethernet to that that say Raspberry Pi, and you make it a hardware node, and it reads
Yeah,
it
it's
just like
kind
the
of
hardware.
cool. It's kind of
So-
cool.
And you pipe the data through. It's really, I like it. I used to use it a lot for robotics, but
Yeah, they used it on things like Mythbusters and stuff like that, where they had timers going off at certain times and visual things. Yeah, it's kind of like the visual basic of controls.
well,
That and MATLAB.
Yeah, MATLAB as well. Yeah, MATLAB's got a little bit into the visual side of things, which is kind of cool.
MATLAB is all over the visual
Motion
side of things.
detection.
OpenCV. Have you seen OpenCV MATLAB combo? It's unstoppable.
Well, anyway, my point is that a lot of industrial systems nowadays, they're actually using wireless protocols to communicate PLCs together. So that's just another layer of
Like
security.
Zigbee and stuff, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So
They probably
anyway,
have I've seen them. They have radio set up with those. It's like a radio setup, and then
really, it comes down to, doesn't matter what type of media you want to transfer or how you're going to transfer that media. It really comes down to like the algorithms and everything else behind securing that protocol in the first place.
Yeah, but you throw enough power at a problem, and I'm specifically thinking about GPU power from graphics cards. You can pretty much figure stuff out pretty quick.
Oh yeah. This is what I was telling you. What's your name? Advanced? What is it?
Advanced noob.
Advanced noob. I like it. Or I'll call you noob. No, advanced or whatever you want. But the thing is, remember I was telling you about Hashcat and how you can like regenerate the hash values with for WPA2? OCL Hashcat.
Hold on a second. Hold on, sorry.
Wow, we killed chat. No one said anything for an hour.
I'll be right back, actually. I'm sorry. You're going to have to say that again when I get back. Just give me 2 seconds.
All right.
So
we killed the chat. Nobody
we
wants
killed
to
the
hear.
chat. We killed the chat with Geek Speak.
Geek Speak.
Oh,
Like,
hey, someone's still here at least.
Yeah.
So let's see. But yeah, the problem is a lot of these people think that their protocols are secure when the exact opposite is the truth. And then they take those systems and they connect them up to the internet, and then they wonder why they get screwed up.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like basically people don't understand a port is a port. It can do whatever you want. There's certain ports used as a standard, so everybody is not using random stuff, and things can communicate.
But there's nothing preventing someone from putting the wrong data down the wrong port either.
Yeah. I mean, it's like through the years, ping, you know. Ping
Like I've used for my own equipment and my my small businesses that I've helped out equipment. I've used security through obscurity with pretty good success, but security through obscurity only works when not everyone else is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
If everyone's doing the same thing, it's no longer security through obscurity.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like sometimes say I do go to pen test and they're like, so how do you get in? How do you get the files? Well, there's this tool where you can turn DNS into an FTP protocol. Let me show you. It's just funny. And also firmware. I mean, I designed these like custom solid state drives that maintain consistency, so they're not erratic. So basically, through time, they're faster. So that's the kind of the theory was behind it. And there's all this like bloated firmware inside these solid state drives that you just are like, why do I need this? Why are all the debug tools in my drive I'm using just for storage?
You should see how insane some of the spinning disk firmwares are. They are so complicated and ridiculous, and I'm surprised that no one's exploited more hard drive firmware.
Oh, I mean, I've done a lot of tests for like, I like, you know, taking things apart and messing around with JTAGs and stuff like that. Kind of like an in-between software, hardware guy. Master of none, knower of them.
Yeah,
But,
I used to call myself jack of all trades, master in none.
Yeah. Then you understand. So I just love this stuff. You know, this is what I do in my spare time and all the time. But then I was trying to figure out how did they program disk drives, and there's a lot of things that you can do to that firmware that it's
You know,
just,
what I would
oh my
actually
God,
say is
scary.
the further you go back, the more you understand what's going on at a hardware level. And this is something I actually try and do because, you know, I really like displaying old computers to young people because I want them to see the old Ataris, the old Commodore 64s, the old Unix systems, and see
The Amigas
what you managed to do
of
with
the
them.
world.
Hmm?
The Amigas of the world.
Unfortunately, I only have one Amiga, and it's broken.
No, the computer museum, man. There's computer museums now. Isn't there 3 in the world now?
3 computer museums?
Yeah.
A lot of them, even though they claim they're hands-on, aren't. I like my stuff to be approachable. I like it so a kid can come down and even break a unit if they want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want them to be touching it with white gloves or kid gloves. I just want them to say, hey, here's a thing to hack on. Do it. And for the most part, I've gotten very good results from that. I do a thing every April where I just bring out a whole bunch of old stuff and bring it to a whole bunch of kids who really want to play with it.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Do you show them
it's
a
just fun to
huge
see
floppy
their...
drive and make them boot a system?
Huh?
Do you show them a huge floppy drive and make them boot to DOS?
Oh, I've done that before. In fact, although the most interesting thing was I brought a Z80 system made by Heathkit.
Wow.
Made by Heathkit. And it, you know, ran CP/M, but I didn't have any software for it. And there were kids trying to write software for this machine that they didn't understand, but they were hammering away and making it do things, and they didn't want help. And it was great, you know. And it's just an amazing thing when you can, you know, set something up and then they get to actually play with something at a low level and then understand what's going on. You know, they look at an Atari game, for example, right? And then I tell them that the Atari has 2K of RAM and there's 16K on the ROM. And they're like, how do you fit a game on that? Because they're used to dealing with Java. And Java, you add 1+3 and it uses 500 megs of RAM. You know
I'm
what I
very
mean?
happy. I got to program in those times when I was starting when I was a kid. Because it shows you how you can make things just, you know, the KISS rule, keep it simple, stupid, and just make it work.
I learned
right.
on VB6 back in the day. Well, QBasic, I guess, if you want to get technical.
QBasic was fun. It was one of my first languages too. Fortran 77 holds a special place in my heart because it's the first computer language that actually made sense to me.
Which one?
Fortran 77.
Okay.
You're still using a freaking airplane terminal still.
Particle physics people still use it to capture data and do math.
Yeah.
Because it's fast.
Yeah, I remember I used that a little bit. That's
What's
fun
fast?
stuff in Go.
Fortran.
Yeah, Fortran, yeah. And then people started porting to C and then C++, but pretty much, yeah.
But C was, boy, it was C86, was it? They called it?
Well, for C, you really have to go back to Bell Labs language B, which is a thing. And they developed C because when they developed Unix, they did so. I really don't want to get this wrong, but I think I will. I think they did it on like a PDP-7 or something with a very weird architecture. And they developed C to actually port Unix without rewriting all the assembly because he didn't want to write assembly to like the PDP 8 and 11.
Wasn't Rob Pike part of that?
I don't know names. I am very bad with names and faces.
Well, but let me tell you this. Rob Pike is one of the guys who did like UTF-8 and stuff like that. He is one of the creators of Go. That's why I changed to it.
Way cool.
And it makes a lot of sense. And it's like, if you know C already, it's just like amazing. It has concurrency and parallelism right out of the box. It has web support right out of the box. I mean, it's just amazing.
Speaking of other oddities, Unix was actually a more simplified version of another operating system called Multics, which is something I wish I could run and experience for myself, but it appears that it's not going to be possible for several more years.
Why is that?
Well, it ran on initially a General Electric 645 mainframe, and General Electric sold off their computer division to Honeywell, and then Honeywell merged with a company called Bull, so then it became Honeywell Bull, and then I guess they separated again, and then Honeywell stopped making mainframes, and then eventually all the mainframes running Multics got shut down, and Multics never got ported over to anything we can actually run today. And I don't think there's any Honeywell.
I can help you here. There's two ways you can do this. You can either use ESL, which is the Radare 2 evaluative string intermediate language, so you can turn the functions into kind of like this own little VM thing, and you can run stuff with that.
Yeah, but you have to know about the actual architecture you're running.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be that hard. I mean, it's what
you would be shocked. Now they did release the source code to Multics not that long ago, so it is out there.
Okay.
As far as I know, no one has successfully made a successful emulator for the Honeywell mainframes or for the GE 645. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's been enough.
That'd be something to do, wouldn't it?
Now there is a lot of interest in other things like the Data General Nova and systems that were more widely spread and widely used. So there's more software and interesting things for them. One of those interesting things being the fact that the Xerox Alto.
Yeah.
It actually had a command set that was compatible with the Data General Nova. So
was that one of the first Xerox?
The Xerox Alto was
GUI.
Yes.
GUI thing?
You're remembering correctly.
Okay. Yeah, it was cool. It's kind of like an egg-shaped white.
Well, the screen was it was a great big rack.
Or it had like a legal size piece of paper.
It did.
Monitor, didn't it?
It did, and it had a huge 5 megabyte hard drive, and I do mean huge physically.
Holy shit!
5 megabytes, dude. Hey, you're screaming. I spent $300 and a fucking 128 megabyte USB drive.
On a zip drive.
Hey, dog. I spent $65 on 4 megabytes of RAM.
Holy shit.
4 megabytes of RAM, and that was cheap back then too.
I know, like I just got 32 gigs of RAM for my new setup, and it was like $200. DD4.
Holy fuck, playa.
No, I got a really cheap Alienware, and it's the best way to do it. And then I repasted it, put some Cryonaut on it, and then there it goes.
Why not?
Cryonaut. It's like a thermal paste for overclocking.
But you're saying
Man, I used to be really heavily into overclocking and water cooling and everything, and then I was in the benchmarking crowd, and then ATI got caught cheating on their drivers, and then NVIDIA got caught cheating on their drivers.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really care except for making computers fast for my taste.
Making computers great again.
Well, the thing is, like with machine learning, like I'm not always pushing it. So, and plus I'm still learning as a learning process.
I'm
getting into like unsupervised learning now, and sometimes I have to leave it on.
By the way, this was the first Ethernet game right here.
What is it? Bomber Killer?
I can't remember what the exact name was, but I think it. Let's see. Let's look it up.
Battlefield.
No, we're not
Fuck
getting anything.
Google, come on.
Google fails, I've noticed.
Google
Dude,
fails
you know what?
on nostalgia shit.
I've been playing around with the Google bar, trying to put in colons and double colons and random things to see what comes out.
Bubble.
Yeah. Use web crawler. Come on, Andrew.
I'll tell you what.
Web
I'm
crawler.
gonna bring back something hilarious if I can remember what it was.
By bring back, you mean like revisit it?
Yeah, if I can remember what it was. Give me a second.
Web crawler, WEBCWA.
Give me a second. Let me undo the screen share while I try and remember what it was.
Let's see if I can screen share.
Yes, it still exists. I can't believe it still exists.
What is it?
Oh, Dogpile. I used to fucking use Dogpile all the time. It would search all the top fucking search engines, wouldn't it?
I don't know what it does
Oh my
anymore.
god.
I don't think it does that anymore.
What, are you
It's
gonna
gotta
do
be its own.
Lycos next?
Ask Jeeves.
Oh man, Ask was horrible.
The one guy got fired from Microsoft for not saying Bing in one of the conference meetings.
Really?
Yeah, one of the head up guys went around the table pretty much saying like, now let's say it, Bing. We're gonna have everybody saying Bing.
Ugh, that's horrible.
Just Bing it, right? And it's like, let's hear everybody say it. And he goes around the table, and one guy's like, Bing. It's like, you're fucking fired. Get the fuck out
Wow,
of
he
here.
Steve Jobbed him?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, man. Bing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Not good.
I think it was actually that guy that does the 3D printing videos on YouTube.
Speaking of which, speaking
Nerd
of boring
something.
things that people watch on YouTube, 3D printing.
What?
People watch 3D prints on YouTube.
As this Barnacles Nerdgasm guy.
Does he do time lapses or like he runs it live?
He used to work at Microsoft, and that was one of the stories he told before.
I got Steve Jobs from Microsoft. My story continues.
Man, all I know is that Bing has always been horrible, except for everyone now uses it to find their pirated movies because Google doesn't do it very well anymore.
I use it to find Google Chrome sometimes.
Yeah, if you're gonna use Chrome Canary.
You use Bing to find Chrome sometimes.
To find Chrome.
You remember when Firefox wasn't Firefox and it was called Phoenix and it actually was small and ran quick?
Yeah.
And now it's a big bloated disaster.
Wow.
Yeah, it has Chrome in it.
I wish. I don't know, man. The multi-threading of Chrome and shit it is a good idea, kind of.
Not the way they implemented it.
But not the way they implemented it, exactly.
It's like, hey, you know what? Distributing shit by sewer pipes is a great idea, but not if I have to visit like 50 houses to complete one shit.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good analogy.
It's like, come on, guys.
What a sexy analogy.
Well, that's pretty much what the internet's about.
Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm sure Irongeek and his pal are enjoying the imagery right now.
Yeah.
Now
He's probably
Google
making
Chrome
fun of us.
and like sewers and poop.
Adrian, come back.
Honestly, I'm probably about done unless anyone can tell me how to successfully configure a Cisco ATA 186. Not the one I haven't played with yet.
I'm only familiar with the Catalyst 2560, I think it is.
That's a nice switch. I actually found one of a 2960G. I found one of those in our hacker space laying around collecting dust. And meanwhile, their network was like 5 10100 switches of various consumer varieties daisy chained together.
What? And so you whipped out the Catalyst.
Yep, I whipped out the Catalyst and I reran all the wire that I could rewire quickly and set that up, turned the server rack the right way around, removed all the frickin' like they had like dryer venting coming out from the vent going sideways and trying to force it into the front of the servers.
What?
And it's like, it was horrible, man. And so I just spent a day undoing all the jank. Like when I was done, I had like 50 pounds of stuff I removed them from the rack.
50 pounds of jank.
Yeah.
That's I can.
But I replaced all their 5 daisy chain 10100 switches with one Cisco after I wiped the configuration off of it and loaded it up as basically a basic switch until they can.
Well, it's not only that, like handling everything is gonna be like, day and night.
It was day and night. It was so much better having gig backbone rather than like. Points and Wi-Fi points running into like TP-Link 10100 switches.
Yeah, people don't understand that every time you go through a switch, you cap out your throughput.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tried to explain this, and basically what I got from everybody was that they went up there, they saw what there was, and then they went back down because they didn't want to look at it anymore.
See, my issue is. I had that fucking Ethernet over power or whatever. Powerline Ethernet? Powerline, right? Powerline Ethernet?
Oh, Powerline over Ethernet?
Well, Ethernet over your power lines in your house.
Those things are awful, but continue.
Anyway, so I had that set up, and it was a bit better than my Wi-Fi for streaming and shit on my home theater PC, and that was about...
Are you in a house?
Just hold on, let me finish. I got rid of this. I've long got rid of this.
Oh, okay.
So I was about a year in my house, and then I fucking realized, hey, that's not telephone wire going to each fucking telephone box in the house. It's Ethernet cable. So what the hell am I doing? And I fucking wired it all up for gigabit Ethernet. And
okay, I've been around showing Coy the various rifles and other shit we got. So what have I missed out on the podcast? Since then?
You missed out on sewers versus Chrome threads.
Sewers like with shit?
Yes, sewers like with shit. And Chrome
because when Chrome starts up a new task, it fires up a new thread, which is like a new sewer pipe in its system of shit.
Yes. So I think that's the only thing that you really missed out on.
Okay, cool. And why is a caustic flow in here twice?
What?
I tripping me out.
Caustic flow icons.
Because
Google was that
put
way.
on my computer and share it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We got 2 machines.
Yeah.
That makes you extra special.
Is this like one of your OS2 machines?
This is actually this is a container.
Are you in Opera right now?
What?
To meld subjects,
in
are any
Opera.
of you guys gun nuts? Are any of you guys people like guns?
Yeah, I
A
love
lot
guns.
of people I know love guns.
I don't hate
realized
guns.
when playing with Nerf guns that what would happen with a Nerf gun might happen with a real gun, which is I modify it and screw with it and play with it and then shoot myself in the face by accident.
That sounds ouchy. No, I mean mostly real guns. Like, what gun would you keep as something to actually have as a concealed carry?
Like my right and my left arm.
I wouldn't buy anything I could accidentally shoot myself in the face with. So it'd be a. I don't know how you could conceal carry a 22 long rifle, but I would.
You could
do a
shoot
38
yourself in the face
special.
with that.
Not easily.
You could do it though.
My buddy here,
sure, but it's not something that would be easy.
He was in Iraq. He never got shot with a gun, my understanding, but he did get some shrapnel.
Nothing worth doing is easy.
Blew up through part of your vehicle into your body.
Something like that. Yeah. Scary as fuck.
What is it? Dart hog or something?
No, dart tag.
Oh, that was a nice looking Nerf gun, yeah.
Man, if that was painted black, I'd take you down.
I know.
That's all I have really close
bright orange
by me, but
then again, have you seen some of the guns that people have done up? Like, there's a guy who did up a Glock as a Nintendo Zapper.
Yes, I've seen like Glocks made up as Nintendo Zap guns.
Yeah, that thing is awesome.
This is a 44 Magnum from Smith & Wesson.
I like beer too.
Empty, because
it's like Batman, the original.
That is like a Batman gun.
Joker
also has some nice, like a 38.
It's the Riddler, isn't it, or is it Joker?
It was Joker.
The one with the sign it pops out.
That was Joker. I'm pretty sure.
Well, the scene where the bat plane is coming down after the parade, and he's like, "Where does he get those little toys?"
Well, representing NolaCon, by the way. Come on down. It's in New Orleans. Come on. If you don't like the con, you're at least hanging out on Bourbon Street. What do you have to lose?
Just a good old
Bourbon Street has like 1,000 cameras.
I still say that's probably
Never
my
been no harm.
Oh, yeah, that's the Glock I was talking about. The Glock, the Nintendo Zapper Glock.
Is that 3D printed?
No, that's
probably not very good. Like, little kids would be playing with that shit.
They kill more birds than McDonald's with that thing.
Yeah, the question is, can you hunt ducks with it?
I bet you could. Look at it. It has the chamber and everything.
You could. I recommend birdshot from a shotgun before that, but
would it still be completely incapable of killing the dog, though?
Oh, that fucking dog is such a pain in the ass.
That fucking dog's gonna die with that gun.
So many people will try to shoot that fucking dog.
Well,
I hate that fucking dog.
I understand that it was possible.
That dog's so fucking dumb.
I think that's bullshit. They might have like a hacked copy of it where you can kill the dog. That'd be great.
I think the arcade version you could hit the dog.
Let's give that to Biscuit, and he can deassemble that shit next week on his YouTube channel.
Give me a second. I'm gonna find it.
Hurry up, Andrew.
Use some Ollie debug.
Okay, my Twitter feed is full of Kinza Solo animated GIFs. Thank you very much, Cyber Pathogens, for that. Actually, I actually do kind of like it. Thank you very much.
Cyber Pathogens.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Cyber Pathogens. She's a lady who.
I thought that's what you're calling everyone.
No, Cyber Pathogens is a lady on Twitter.
Feelings, Andrew.
Guys.
Oh shit.
Oh, fuck.
Well,
get that.
Shit, I'll fucking share my screen so you can see what the hell I'm talking about.
Are you using a gun? Oh, shoot.
No, I'm just sharing a screen.
Did you see it?
Oh, shit, you sharing your screen too.
Now?
Oh, he's giving you the finger, man.
But did you catch that?
He's like, yeah, fuck you, shoot the ducks. Why are you shooting me?
Yeah, but this is one of the arcade versions of Duck Hunt.
Oh, was this only in Japan or something?
It might have been. It was a
So
verse.
whose screen sharing takes precedence?
It's Korea because they were actually trying to get the dogs so they could eat it.
This is
Oh my
King
God.
and this is Cyber Pathogens. She was sharing a bunch of images. I'm assuming she's a fangirl of
She's sexy.
of Lost Girl.
Yeah, she's that crazy bitch off of that weird show.
Lost Girl in Canada.
Lost Girl, the one with the werewolves and weird shit.
Yes.
Going on? Okay.
Anyway, there you
Various-
have it.
All sorts of weird shit. Yes.
An obscure gaming reference, but there you have it.
Shoot the ducks, not me.
I think she was same show. I think she was making out with the other chick in that. That was sweet.
I'd watch that. That sounds okay.
All right.
All
No,
right,
man, I need to get back in shape and start hitting on some women. That's I'm just looking at the images they've sent and they're like, oh, she's so cute.
It's gonna be fucking Iron Man. Iron.
Oh no, please not today.
What don't you want today?
I'm just joking. I don't know.
No refunds
No refunds.
for the
So-
gun show.
Oh.
Any point? So this is a 3.5 Irongeek cast. Any important subjects we should bring up before we close things out?
I don't know. I'm about to head off myself, I think. Let's not all fucking use up all of our good topics because we're saving them for tomorrow, right?
Oh, well,
Yep.
not tomorrow, but actually, what time is it?
Or is it not? Oh no, it's not
Right
tomorrow.
now.
It's Wednesday.
Is when we do the official podcast.
The day after
Today was
tomorrow.
just something I started up because I needed something to do.
2 days after the day before yesterday.
We should
Stop
do it
screwing
next
with our head.
Monday just for fun.
That's today.
Official podcast is going to be on Wednesday. Though I should probably announce that I will be at B-Sides Tampa this weekend to record. Could not make B-Sides B-Sides Huntsville this last weekend for obvious reasons, but I will be at B-Sides Tampa to record next weekend. This upcoming weekend. How do you say that? Is it
Cool beans.
next weekend? Does that mean weekend after the one that's current, or does that mean regardless? This upcoming weekend, the nearest weekend we have, I'll be at B-Sides Tampa.
I think if it is the weekend, then you say this weekend. Or if it's a Friday, you can say this weekend. But any other time next weekend is literally more than 3 days away.
Okay.
Drink some more beer.
That's what I would say.
I'm all
You
about
talking to me? You talking to me?
Yeah, he's talking to you. He's like,
What the fuck?
he's like,
You're making too much sense. You need to drink more beer.
Are you guys going to be speaking or attending any cons anytime soon? Go ahead and give them a shout out.
Nope.
no, I want to go to the next B-side soon, though. I want to try to do
The
that.
next conference I'll probably attend will be we've got Cactus Con in Arizona, but it's usually a small thing.
Sorry, Viva Vendetta started playing in the background.
What kind of beer are you guys drinking tonight?
I'm drinking mead right now. What the hell you got in your hand, Corey?
I'm drinking some mead also.
I love mead. I got some homemade mead. It's brewing. It's been in there since the first. It's alcoholic enough now, but probably should age a bit. It's not exactly.
Excuse my ignorance
Great,
when
yeah.
I ask you what mead is.
Mead is honey wine. It's essentially fermented water and honey. Now people
It's
add
diabetic
different
in a
herbs to it.
bottle.
Like I think me and Corey currently, I got some of his bee nectar mead, and I think he
Yeah,
had
I
some.
got some too. Yeah.
And he had for a while there some of the teed, which is an Ethiopian mead. But essentially it's just honey, water, and fermentation. But people add different extra things into it, like herbs, or if they add fruit juice into it, it becomes a mellow melt.
It tastes weird. It's a little weirder than wine.
Did you ferment it yourself?
In the same way that like deer meat is like beef, but a little bit gamey, so it's like gamey wine. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's kinda
Gamey
weird.
wine? Huh.
If you like cider, you probably like mead, but some meads vary. Like I don't like.
It's like a natural kind of wine. Like
Yeah.
There's a mead called Viking Blood.
Tastes like honey though. Tastes like honey.
Yeah, there's
It
a
doesn't-
mead called Viking Blood. It's too syrupy for me. The tea stuff I get is usually just about right. The stuff he bought from Bee Nectar is just about right for me. Some are kind of dry. It depends on what mead you're talking about.
What's that really dark, heavy wine that tastes like it's been in a barrel for 20 years?
Port?
Yeah, like a quart wine. Is it kind of like that compared to
Viking Blood is
like
kind of like
a-
port, but most meads are not like that.
Is it like a cooler, but kind of like a quart cooler? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say like a cooler at all. No. I mean, some of the heavier meads, like Viking Blood, is kind of like a port. That's like too syrupy for my taste. But no, the average mead is it's alcoholic, has a slight honey flavor to it, and it's a little sweet.
Okay. Well, it's almost like a white wine. I'm looking it up now. It's kind of like, well, it's syrupy though, is it?
Well,
Yeah,
depends on which mead you get. Mead varies, just like beer varies and just like wine varies. If you're ever at DerbyCon, ask me. We always have a mead tasting at DerbyCon in my room. Come by and we'll give you various meads to try.
I would be honored one day.
Also, last year we did karaoke, and that was off the fucking charts. Luckily, no one complained. And I had this roommate who he was on my video crew. He was a cool dude in general, but he got so drunk on Saturday night, he passed out, could not get up for his work on Sunday. So I came up, I was like, he passed on my couch. I'm like, okay, dude, I need you downstairs to record in a bit. And I go downstairs and set things up. I come back up, he's passed out on my floor in my bathroom, face first, like, "Ugh." And so I like pick his ass up, put him back on the couch. I come back up, and he's benching on my bed. It's like 5 o'clock the next day. I'm like, oh, dude, how much did you drink the next day? I'm not saying who this guy's name is, but he may be sitting next to me right now.
Okay.
Love you, man.
I've never been to a con before. I was a little overwhelmed.
He was a little overwhelmed by
I'm not
what the
gonna
con
tell you who he
experience
is, but
was.
he's right here, guys. Say hi.
Yeah, earlier in the stream, man. I know who you are.
He got fucked up. I got fucked up too the night before. I got up though in time to get the video recorded. That's the thing I do at cons. I may get fucked up, but I will be there in time to record the shit.
But you
Look,
get
we
your
shift some
shit
things
done.
around. We got everything taken care of.
That's the motto to live by.
And
I get
Janine
fucked-
made sure your ass was taken care of.
I get
That was that
fucked
redhead
up,
lady that
but
made
I
sure that you didn't
take
die.
care of shit.
Yeah, she was sweet.
And Anna and Janine made sure you didn't die.
Yeah.
That's nice too.
Her and her husband also were the ones that brought the karaoke machine. Well, we were like screaming our lungs out to Journey and other shit. It was a good time. So ask me if you're at DerbyCon, come by, ask me about the mead tasting, and I'll tell you what day it is. But yeah, we ran out of mead pretty quick, unfortunately. I need to get more mead next year.
I'm gonna have to
So
try
how
me some
expensive is
meat.
it to get a nice mead?
I recommend Oliver Winery's Camelot mead. It's relatively inexpensive, and I think it's good and representative of average mead. You want to go a little bit more pricey? Stuff from Bee Nectar. Bee Nectar makes some nice meads also, but most of the really good meads are not really straight meads. They're mellow mells, which are mead and fruit juice.
All right, I will leave you with a Unix shutdown before I leave here.
Adrian really likes meat a lot.
Yes. Well, folks, I think we had a good ending for this. And a few of you need to get on, so I'm going to let the stream stop here shortly. Does anybody have any final words?
No.
Other than you should let the stream shut down with the Linux.
It's not Linux, it's Unix.
Oh, it's Unix.
I'm on OS 10 right now, so.
Oh, it's logging off now.
Well, gentlemen, you all have a good evening, and hopefully some of you all can join me on Wednesday.
All
But
right.
cheers.
Cheers, folks.
I'll get my best
Kind of
mead.
aborted.
Bye, folks.